Hello and welcome to this very special holiday episode of the Sausage Factory. I'm your moderator, Pizzal, and usually what I do is when we have a special guest, I introduce all the panel and I save the special guest for last. But tonight, since we are honored to be joined by the incomparable, the enigmatic, the legendary, the Eric Freeman. I, Eric, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining us. How are you doing tonight, sir?
I'm fine. Justin, thank you. Really, I just a normal bloke. I still clean my own toilets, so you don't have to flatter me with any praise. I'm happy to be here.
Well, we are very, very happy to have you, especially for this show. And it's the holidays, and you know what I mean. We definitely appreciate it. I know everybody out there watching appreciates it. Ever since I announced this episode, everybody's been super excited. Everybody's been looking forward to it. So, yeah, it's you're giving us quite a Christmas gift, an early Christmas gift tonight, sir.
Oh God, I'm sorry. I'm a little bit like big toe in the sand. I thank you. I don't know how to quite handle it. Thanks a lot. No, I like the show, and I like what I've seen on numerous occasions. Every time I've asked you to, hey, show me what you got, and you send me a link, and I like it. Very intelligent reviewing of movies.
Well, we do what we can. We do what we can.
I won't be able to keep up, but in the case you'll ask me questions, I'll do what I can, and I'll try to live up to it.
Yeah, and everybody out there watching, if you want to leave questions for Eric, post them in the chat or send them to me through either Twitter or Facebook, and we'll do a little Q&A at the end of the commentary with Eric. Also with me tonight, after a brief sabbatical, B Movie Mike. How's it going, Mike?
Hey, what's up, guys? Hope everybody's enjoying the holidays out there. Christmas time is upon us, and I can't think of a better movie to watch this time of year than Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2. It's an annual viewing experience for myself and many others, and when we had heard that Eric might join us for this, I mean, it was just like, how can it get any better than that? So, this is going to be a Christmas to remember, and I'm very happy to be a part of it. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, how have you been? How's things going down there in sunny Florida?
It hasn't been too sunny recently, but we do have our version of winter. It's brief, but it's annoying. We've been going from like 80 to 50 to 80 to 50 to, it won't choose one. It's just up and down constantly, which is just pick one. I don't care if you stay at 50, but just pick one. We had some storms today, but that's no big deal. I mean, once you get used to hurricanes, a thunderstorm's nothing. So it's been okay. It's all good.
That's kind of what it's been here in Kentucky, but instead of 50 or 80, it's been either 30 or 50. So
I'll take the 80. Yeah, I like the 80. It's good.
yes, I would take it too. But
it's just like the thermostat. It's like air conditioning during the daytime, heat at night. Air conditioning, heat. It's just,
exactly. Well, it's good to have you back, man. We've missed you these past few weeks. It's good to have you back.
It's good to be back. Thank you.
Also with me tonight's Jay the Stingray. What's up, Jay?
Hey guys, sorry I was muted there, so I don't sound like an idiot. Good to see everybody. Glad to see Mike again, and obviously thanks to Mr. Freeman for being here.
I'm very happy to be here. Thank you, Justin's is great. In fact, Justin sent me this shirt, the Eric Freeman shirt. So I thank you, Justin. I'm now indebted more to you, and but it's a great shirt, and I'm glad to see they had some new shirts this year, and all of this is just overwhelming in the sense of how do you can't even grab onto that something I did so long ago is people like it, and it's got some sort of status. I'm just floored. So very cool.
Yeah. Well, the new shirts, especially the new Blu-ray from Scream Factory. I mean, that Blu-ray was it was a tribute, I would say, more to you than to just the movie. The making of featurette, the you going back to the locations, the Ricky Today segment. I mean, my God, the Ricky Today segment. If you guys have not seen the Ricky Today segment on that Blu-ray, it's worth the price of the daggone Blu-ray alone. Great stuff. So I mean, it's I'm so happy that Silent Night Deadly Night 2 is kind of getting a renaissance. Or I guess more so, not a renaissance, but it's kind of the same way a movie like Friday the 13th Part 5. For so many years, it was just kind of not liked and sort of obscure. And then finally people are kind of they're rediscovering it, and they're seeing that it's, it's a fun movie. It's exactly what it should be. It's a fun movie. And yeah, it's a good time to be a Silent Night Deadly Night 2 fan, and a good time to be an Eric Freeman fan.
I'll go with that. I no, really, it's somewhat embarrassing because all those years ago I had, there's some, it's just over the top. It's just a lot of that. I just didn't really have any direction, and I had a lot of energy, but as it goes, I guess it all worked out. Had I not been so green, and had I had, this, that, and the other, some direction of, it may have not, we wouldn't be here. I just don't think we would be here in the sense that it was just raw energy, and it went to places that shouldn't have went, but it turned out that it was funny. So cool.
If you hadn't played Ricky Caldwell the way you portrayed him, we would not be here tonight. The Scream Factory Blu-ray would not exist. Silent Night Deadly Night 2 would be in the same outer rim of obscurity where Silent Night Deadly Night 3, 4, and 5 live. So your performance is the reason why we're here. Your performance is the reason why Silent Night Deadly Night Part 2 has the legion of fans that it does. And that is entirely thanks to you.
Thank you.
Well, no. Thank you. We actually received our very first super chat tonight. World Class Bullshitters sent us $5, and he says Eric Freeman is the most entertaining actor of 1987. So thank you, World Class Bullshitters, for the $5 super chat. That's very generous of you. And I would say Eric Freeman may in fact be the most entertaining actor of the 80s. Maybe of any decade. I don't know. I may be biased, but I fully agree with you. And again, thank you for your generosity. Let's see here. Who else is with me tonight? Oric, what's going on, man? How are you?
I don't have my mouse. I don't have my mouse set up. I'm a desktop guy, not really a laptop guy. But I'm doing good. Tis the season, fellas. Yeah, celebrating. I'm gonna watch this tonight. Probably watch Bad Santa 1 and 2. Probably watch Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 1, and then Die Hard 1 and 2, of course. I have a. Eric was just talking about the T-shirt he got. I got the shirt in today that says from your team. It says "Welcome to the party, pal." So I'm gonna wear that to the varsity game tomorrow and see. There's no like guns or anything on the T-shirt, so I'm just gonna kind of just roll in there, hang up in the bleachers and the rafters. Welcome to the party, pal. But yeah, should be a fun time. I've been looking forward to this for a while. Anytime we have a guest that's acclaimed. I don't know. Is that the? I don't know. I don't have a vocabulary, Eric. I'm sorry, but yeah, it's always a fun time. But that's all I'll say before everyone tunes out and deletes the VOD. Okay, here we go.
And also with us tonight, he just joined in. Eric, Easy E. How you doing tonight, buddy?
Hey, sorry I'm late, guys. And Mr. Freeman, I promised that I was going to commend you on the spelling of your first name the right way, the way I spell it, the way all good Erics should spell their names. So thank you, sir. Congratulations. No, like Orc said, I like any show where we have a guest, but it's particularly exciting to have you here, just because this movie is so iconic and definitely is in the middle of a kind of a renaissance, which is odd. Not because not to pick on the movie, but it seems odd to me that just this day and time, all of a sudden it seems like this movie's coming back in a big way, kind of like Friday the 13th Part 5 sort of just randomly did a few years back, and all of a sudden everybody really likes it. So this is going to be a good one for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. This will be this will be one that goes down in history, I'm sure. This will be we've had some awesome guests on to do live commentaries and stuff in the past. It's a very special honor to have Eric on to talk about Silent Night, Deadly Night, because Eric doesn't do a lot of these things, and you know what I mean. But now that Freeman is found, he's getting out there, and I think that's part of the reason for the Renaissance as well, is because people want to know about Eric and where he's been, and so. But yeah. So again, let me just remind everybody that at the end of the commentary tonight, we'll do a Q&A with Eric. So if you have any questions, feel free to leave those in the chat or send those to me via Facebook or Twitter. I am at Pizzal on Facebook, at Pizzal on Twitter, and Pizzal on Facebook. Before we get into the commentary tonight, and for all of you guys who are going to be watching with us at home, we'll give you a couple of minutes to get your copy of SNDN2 queued up. I do want to mention that just the other day we lost Steve Dash, who played Jason in Friday the 13th Part 2, the real Jason. Man. Yes, Friday the 13th Part 2.
Oh wow.
Yeah, he passed away. Just a few days before then, he had a leg amputated because of diabetes, and so I'm assuming it was a complication from diabetes. But yes, he passed away. Very unfortunate that he passed away. He was a really interesting guy. I had the pleasure of meeting him once, and really nice guy.
And I had the pleasure of being friends with him on Facebook, and he was kind of posting progress about his surgery, and things seemed to be going really well. So it was kind of a shock to me when I log into Facebook and all of a sudden I see he's gone.
Yeah,
because he posted after his surgery, well, the leg's off. Now that's over with. I can't wait till they give me a new leg. He was playing. He had conventions booked, and he was like already over it. He was just like, okay, that's done. Next thing.
Yeah.
And then I guess I saw something about a week ago where he was having kidney problems. So apparently there was some kind of a shock to the system with the surgery, and his kidneys failed, and then it went from diabetes is a hell of a thing, and he was 74, so losing a leg at that age is a shock to the system, and apparently it was just too much for him, which sucks because he was a very interesting dude, man. He was a tough old bird, and it was really cool talking to him, and it's gonna suck because he was. He loved the fans. He loved being Jason, and it was whenever somebody like that goes, it's always like we lost Brooker a few years back, and our idols are leaving us, and it gets harder and harder every year. So it was tough to see him go, but man, that was a shock.
I have to say something real quick, man. I'm so upset right now because I just wanted to go to one convention where Steve Dash and Warrington Gillette were both there. And just see one guy at one table over here and one table over here. Just be like, I did all the stunts, F you. And then he's just like, I don't know. But
Well, they already they had that interaction at a convention, and Warrington Gillette. I'm sure one of the things he looks at before he agrees to go to a convention is Steve Dash going to be there too? Because Steve Dash set him straight, and Steve Dash was he was a smaller guy, but I mean he
You know, he was ex-military. He was ex-New
Yes.
York Police Department. I mean, he was a tough dude. I mean, I think
Yeah.
he would have took him without a problem, even at 74.
Stuntmen are pretty tough guys in general. So
There you go. Yeah.
I just saw him in February, man, and I thought he looked great. He was in good spirits, and saw him at a convention, and it seemed like everything was going great. And I had no idea he was in such poor health.
Yeah.
But,
You know, his attitude toward the surgery was just so, yeah, it's just a thing.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to go in, you know, it's going to be over with. I'll be back on the road. Don't worry about it. I'll see you in January. And he was very, you know, upbeat and like it was nothing. So, you know, but when it's your time, I guess it's your time and there's not much you can do about it.
Yeah, unfortunately. Yeah. And, you know, he had a kind of similar story as Eric did, where, you know, after Friday the 13th Part 2, you know, he did some stunt work, but then he got out of the business and he was a cop. He was a cab driver. He had no idea that the Friday the 13th movies were as big as they were. He had no idea about the convention scene. He had no idea about any of this. And I think if I recall correctly, somebody recognized his name from like him driving a cab. And they were like, hey, weren't you the guy? Didn't you play Jason? And he was like, well, yeah. But he had like no idea how big those movies were. So it really wasn't until later in his life that he really kind of, you know, started making the rounds at conventions and became, you know, got out there. So
Is that a phenomenon we see more from kind of the past generation of actors, do you think? I don't mean just to you, Piz, but where, because I mean, I think we've heard this story a few times where it's like there's an actor who appeared, and I am actually thinking of in Part 5, the guy who played Tommy, who, I mean, gosh, I think he's like a priest or something now, so maybe he's an extreme case, but you hear about that a lot, you know, people who portrayed characters in movies from the 80s and maybe even the 90s where a beloved movie or maybe a cult hit, but then they kind of just go off and they live, you know, they work a job and they kind of leave the business behind.
Mhm.
I sort of just feel like in today's movie TV culture, it seems like once you're in, like, unless you get like banished for, you know, drugs or something.
Right.
I don't know. I feel like I hear those stories more about like the 80s and 90s than I do about, you know,
Well,
present day.
yeah, well, I think social media plays a huge role in it too. Being
Okay.
being connected to, you know, that kind of keeps you in the loop and keeps you abreast of all those situations and stuff too, you know.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, that's, yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right, guys. It's like it's relevance. It's if you can stay any buzz you can create, and now with the technology, you can kind of keep the buzz going.
Right.
And there was a boatload of actors back in the 80s and 90s that it was hard to get work. It was always, you know, 1,000 or 2,000 submissions for anything that would be on television or a film or a part on a film. So
Right.
I could see where you could fall out, you know, disappear. I did, and others have. It's a tough grind, and a lot of guys were real handsome guys I used to go to auditions with, and just real talented. There was a guy named Wes Montgomery. I always remember Wes because I always thought he would make it because he had everything you'd need. And
Right.
but you saw that they would just get discouraged every audition they go on, and they would just literally talk to you and say, man, I just got to go get a life. I need some money. And
Right.
so, you know, that's kind of like, and if they may do a movie that turns out to be something, you know, years later, but they move on, and it's best anyhow that way, because you can get, you know, you get your doctorate or get your degree, or you make good money working for the state or something, but you can,
Yeah.
you know, all of a sudden you have a pension and all these better things than you would be a poor actor. So who's going to hit, who's not going to hit, it's a crapshoot. So I just thought I'd throw that in, because that's, you know, some get real lucky. Said that the pool of talent we have today isn't necessarily the best talent.
Right.
There's a degree of luck in this, and then you can keep massaging it with Twitter and Facebook and all that.
I almost wonder if there's an element too of well, I don't wonder. I mean, I'm sure there is, of like nepotism and like the people who have friends or just maybe are nice to work with, if I try and see the positive side of it. Because when you look around, and I don't mean the mega stars, but I mean maybe, quote unquote character actors, you see them again and again and again. You see them all over the time. And I start to wonder, are they just really great people to work with, or are they friends with somebody? Do they just have some sort of an in, like they go to the top of a list if there's a part that comes up? I guess I just sort of wonder if there's something institutional. And again, I'm not trying to turn this into like a sociology podcast here, but I sort of wonder, because it seems like something like that must be at play, but I don't know.
I think we see like
I think you're right. Look, that's everyone here probably knows that as well. I've known a lot of people that went to like Beverly Hills High School or the Hollywood High School, but in
Right.
there you have the son or the daughter of a producer that's made a string of hits here in Hollywood, and so yes, if you start looking at these individual actors, you will find out that they are the son or daughter of somebody in the business, and so at the bare minimum, they're going to get a good agent, and a good agent can pretty much catapult a career. Right. And so you're right. If they aren't directly connected to, a major player in Hollywood, they have friends they grew up with in high school. Beverly Hills High School really churns out either producers or actors or somebody in the business. So you're dead on. That's really what I used to face in the 80s going to auditions, is I would get to the callback situation where you would you'd come in and then you'd be reading for the producers, and you'd kind of be beyond the casting director at that point. And that's when the names would come in. They wouldn't be, they didn't read prior, but then the names from soap operas and television would come in to grab that five line or less piece of work. And so I used to say, you got to have a name if you want to play the game, because at that point of coming in, I was only the backup to the soap star, and they always wanted to keep, especially if you were casting something on NBC and they already had a star on NBC, they would naturally go to this person so they could do a must-see TV. A. Martinez is starring on Friends or something like that. So they would always use the high TVQ, as they call it. It's kind of they have this unwritten little chart of a favorability factor from the viewers. If it's a TVQ, and if you have a high TVQ like a Robert Urich or somebody from the past that did all these strings of great television, they would naturally just want an unknown actor because they pay him more, but he would boost the ratings. So you're dead on.
I do like that name drop. A. Martinez. I know A. Martinez from General Hospital. I know he was in other things. That's where I know him from.
I'm sorry, I went way back, boys. Sorry, but he was always there. He was always there on these callbacks and other folks that no one may know now, but you guys know obscurity. So, but that's what I would face a lot. Is I would come in and get my ass kicked by a celebrity. And but that's fine,
Well, let's see what's going
Very
on.
Boring. Sorry, Justin. We are off track.
No. You're enlightening us to the business. So
yeah, no, thank you. I appreciate that. That's insight that I didn't have. That's good.
Exactly.
That's the minutia that we wallow in.
Exactly.
It's the kind of questions EW doesn't ask, and I'm always annoyed when I don't get to know the details I want to know. So this is a good opportunity.
Yeah, if you go all the way back, I mean, the guy who was in Gunsmoke, he got Marshall Dillon because of John Wayne. He was buddies with John Wayne. I mean, John Wayne had his circle of friends that always got jobs, and John Carpenter had his pool of actors he always pulled from, and Spielberg does the same thing. That's the best thing for a character actor is to get hooked up with somebody like Tim Burton or whatever, and next thing you know, when they're making a movie, you always get a call. I guess that's kind of the goal for a character actor, is to become friends with the right person.
Yeah.
A lot of luck, though. A lot of luck.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see what's going on out in the chat. We've got a lively chat going on already tonight. John Grande says he's rocking his Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2 hoodie he got in the mail today. Rock on, Eric Freeman, he says. Movie Man 95, of course, he brings up the fact that You're constantly covered in smoke, Mike. You're just
It's vape. I quit smoking 3 years ago, but thank you.
what flavor vape are you got there, Mike?
Breakfast cannoli from a new company called 100 Mill Juice Co.
Whoa, breakfast cannoli.
Yeah,
Wow.
delicious.
No peanut butter fun time surprise today, Mike. Aha.
Jam Monster, I believe.
Jam Monster is coming out with a peanut butter and jelly. I was told today by my favorite provider. I look forward to sampling that.
Nice. Movie Man 95 also says, welcome, Eric. Glad to have you on the show tonight. Let's see. Rocky Voorhees says, hello, Eric. It's an honor. Joe Bob Tarhill says, honor to have you here, Mr. Freeman. The Horror Reel says, I have a feeling this may top the live commentary for Maximum Overdrive. That was a fun one. Again, thank you to World Class Bullshitters for that very generous super chat. We appreciate it. DJ Donnelly's here with us tonight. Neil Bog 1987 is here with us tonight. Itchy Goonie. He says, hey, Eric, I really enjoyed the Blu-ray and the film locations. So cool you did that.
Thank you very much. That was nice to do. I got called last minute by just a real big fan. I know that his name was Robert Patterson. He calls me up. He says, hey, I'm coming out to LA because I've treated my parents to tickets at the Hollywood Bowl for John Williams. It was kind of something his parents liked. And he said he was going to look at the locations. He found them all on his own using the movie and GPS and just crazy stuff. And I wish we could have done more on that, a little bit more in depth and here and there. I wanted to do some things. I kind of wanted to step in and help him direct it, but it wasn't my place. But it did come out very well, and I was happy with it. And I wanted to make the disc something more than your standard, and so I was all in on whatever, and that's why I did the Ricky Today thing. I just said, hey, it'd be cool to resurrect Caldwell, and yeah, thanks.
Joe Caraluzzo's with us tonight. He says, what's up, Eric? Let's see, we got a lot of RIPs for Steve Dash. Let's see, Anthony Anderson's with us tonight. Traffic Cone.
Anthony Anderson?
Probably not the Anthony Anderson.
Oh, okay. All right.
But well, it may be. I don't know. It may be. I don't know.
He
Blackish.
could be a fan. I would say he could be a fan. We do a good job, right?
Yeah. Let's see. Traffic Cone says, hey, Eric, pleasure to have you here. Really hope you're able to get your film made soon. We need more Ricky. I wholeheartedly agree. The Kevin Sullivan Show says, hi, Eric. So we've got quite a chat going on tonight. What was that, Orc?
Can I interrupt for a second?
Sure.
Yo, Eric, do you have some kind of funding program for your new film, or is someone else producing it?
The answer is no and no. I guess, guys, you'd be the ones to ask, and maybe the people in the chat, because in the respect of, see, I'm not a name other than the Garbage Day guy and such, but I always thought that I needed the Silent Night, Deadly Night franchise name, etc. And this is the big hurdle that the owner's an elderly guy, but he's just holding. He wants big money, such big money that it many people, Finding Freeman folks, Patrick Coffey in particular says, hey, Eric, you're bigger than that. If you just did Unhinged and with the social media, you could get this thing done and made, and you wouldn't have to spend all that money on rights for SNDN. And I still think, because it's not like I'm a household name, I'm in television or in movies now. So I just think I need that for more like credibility. But that's the long answer to a simple question.
But I've had the opportunity to read the Unhinged script, and it's absolutely fantastic, absolutely
nice.
fantastic. And there's always Eric's working on a couple of things behind the scenes he may not want to go into just yet, but there's some avenues he's exploring with Unhinged, and he's got some good people out there, helping him. So, hopefully it'll happen. Or we may have to go find this elderly lawyer guy and put him in the Cobra Clutch. You know what I mean?
I mean, it's the age of reboots and old sequels coming back, and I mean, if there was ever a time when something like this could work, why not now?
Mhm.
I mean, heck, they did that god awful. Didn't they do a reboot or something of Silent Night, Deadly Night a few years ago? I don't think it was worth anything, but
I think Silent Night was like a semi remake or something. I don't know. I really didn't see very many. I think it's considered somewhat of a remake, but I mean, if you've seen it, it doesn't. I mean, the guy's running around with a flamethrower. You know what I mean? That's not that's not SND to me. You know what I mean? So,
It's not horrible, but it's not the same now.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't say naughty at least a few times, I mean, come on.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Would this guy take some kind of a deal where he takes less on the front end and maybe some points on the back end? I mean, because the budget's not going to be that huge to start with.
No,
I don't know.
You're right, Mike. You're right. I wanted to try to do this on the cheap. Clearly, there's going to be no cost out front on talent, and there's no big money shots in the sense of blowing up a building or those are the big money shots. So I wrote something that's all Caldwell and could. I can't say what you could do it for. $500,000. Something, or it depends on who's doing it, shooting it, and who
right.
So, I agree. I'd like to do it. I'm jonesing to get this guy out there. But I'll see what I can do, and I just wish I had a secret uncle that had some dough.
Is Kickstarter or GoFundMe options? Are those things you've explored?
Well, I think the main problem is getting the rights from this old attorney who owns the rights, and he won't give up the rights for anything less than $700,000 to $1 million. So, I mean, you'd be raising money to buy the rights and then raising money then to make the movie. See, it's going to cost it's going to cost more to buy the rights than it would to make the movie.
I see what you're saying. Okay. Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
And can we just wait for this guy to die? I mean, how old is he?
Well, he's like 85. He's an older gentleman.
Okay.
But then, I mean, the question is, where does he bequeath the rights to a son or daughter, or does he have somebody lined up that they go to once he's gone? You know what I mean? What's going to happen then? And
well, maybe this is like some sort of a marketing blitz or a social media outreach to not again in a nice way. You'd want to do it in a good way, a nice way, but it's reaching out to this guy, hey, make this happen. I don't know.
There's a way for you to get a taste. You just can't have it all up front. It's
right.
unrealistic to ask for it all up front, man.
Yeah,
Facebook, Twitter, that kind of stuff. I mean, I don't know.
The little bit I do know that I can say is that the owner of the rights is he prides himself on never seeing the movie ever, and he's all business. And so he lives in the world of just this is a business arrangement. And the last time that people, I think it was the last movie that was done, they paid I think 7 figures for the right to do it, and it fell in their face. It didn't make any money. So point is I was told going in talking to him that he's all business, and he was. So, and he does have a son, and that gentleman apparently is very well off, and probably really wouldn't care if he inherited it or not. But I will do my best. I will keep plugging away on that angle and others. I'm not sure I need that. I would rather go without the name and the title and all that. Just I'd rather go without. I just don't know if that has enough cachet of just it's the Garbage Day guy, and then there's a legion of fans. I don't know if that's enough. I really don't. So,
yeah. Well, I mean, you never know. Yeah, but we'll keep our fingers crossed. We'll certainly keep our fingers crossed. Yeah. Well, have you guys all got your copies of Silent Night, Deadly Night 2 queued up and ready to go?
Ready to go.
Okay,
0.00.
cool. Very nice. Okay, all you guys at home, if you're going to be watching along with us, I hope you got your copy of Silent Night, Deadly Night 2 queued up at the very beginning at 0.00.00. And I'll count us down, and we'll get the ball rolling in 5, 4, 3, 2, play. All righty.
This is a real treat. It has been many, many, many years since I actually watched this.
Ah.
This is like the story we always tell about the VHS covers in the video store. That's how I got onto these movies. After I finished watching like Halloween and Friday the 13th, and I think even Freddy, I was like looking around for like what would be the next thing, and I think this might have been what I started getting into after the big ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just remember the controversy around the original film.
Yeah.
And that's really what put it on the map for me. I'm like, oh, I got to watch it now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
I think it's funny that it's this, like that controversy. Like no one, I mean, people remember it, but I don't think this is thought of as like infamous or in that way anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I just think it's sort of funny how things change.
Well, I mean, the whole genesis of Silent Night, Deadly Night 2 came off of the fact that, the first movie got pulled so quickly because of its controversy, and it never made the money that they wanted it to make. And Eric, I'm sure you can fill us in on this better, but wasn't Lee Harry's sort of his job was to basically just re-edit the first movie and throw it back out there as a new movie. Is that correct?
That is correct. They came to him, and they just wanted him to re-edit the original movie, and it just everyone, all the editors there, including Lee and Joe and David Patterson, we can't do anything with this. We can't only thing we can do is cut out the violence, and which would have killed the story in a sense. So the idea was they said, hey, if we could have a little bit of money, we could write some new scenes, and that's how it came to be. I'm sure all you guys know that part of the story, but it was either edited or add to the movie. So that's what they did.
Well,
They definitely.
Yeah, and I mean, thank God that they had the forethought to say, well, look, let's add something new to it instead of just a straight up re-edited version of the movie.
It felt like a clip show episode of like a TV show. The first time I saw it, I was like, wait, what's happening?
Yes.
Well, it's like you don't even have to watch the first movie. You get it all in this one.
You do. You get the Cliff Notes version. You get the best parts of the first movie.
That's true.
Then you get this, you know what I mean? So they gave us the best of both worlds here. But we're here in the about to have the interview scene between Ricky and the psychiatrist. Tell us what was that, Eric?
I was just going to say, where the hell are you guys on this movie? Because for some reason I got a late start on this, but the orderly already came in with the reel to reel.
Yeah, I'm at 3 minutes and 33 seconds right now.
Okay, thank you. Because I'll tune forward to that, and then, but I overall I know the movie, right? So I'm good.
Well, why don't you tell us how you got cast in the film?
Well, that was interesting because I I was born in California, but I grew up in Minnesota, and I came out
I thought
to
I was
Los.
hearing a little bit of that. I thought I heard a little bit.
I came out here to visit my mother. She was out in an area called Manhattan Beach, and I wasn't out here that long before I came across a rag sheet. It's called Drama Log. In a nutshell, it was like a rag sheet for actors, what little parts may be coming up or extra work really, and headshots and all this stuff, anything to do with actors or making money off of a dumb actress that might need headshots done or something. So so I looked at this, and I did see a ad for an untitled horror film. The location for the interviews were in Burbank. It was at Les Jean. Les Jean is where Lee Harry worked. It was an editing production house. And all in all, I went in, but it was completely ancillary in the respect of I read for like cop number 5, security guy. I was supposed to be one of those cops that's around Caldwell when they all converge around and he puts a gun to his head. I was one of those cops I read for. It was like, don't do it, or some line like that. It was a throwaway. And I was leaving the audition. I was looking around, and I always kind of thought, well, maybe they don't have the lead wrapped up, whatever. So I spoke up. I spoke up and said, well, who's got the lead? And Joe Earl, who was real high on an actor named David Heavener, immediately blurted out, well, we got that locked up. And Lee looked at me a couple of seconds, which I thought, hey, that's nice. At least he's looking. And then he said, yeah, we got that nailed down. But thanks for coming. And that was it. I went home to this house. I was restoring this old house, and I had this old rotary phone, and I couldn't pay the bill. It was $15. But I got a call on that rotary phone like the next day saying, we'd like you to come in and read for something else. And that kind of snowballed into getting it. But I went in and read, and it was all videotaped. And but I know I went back because Joe Earl, who was co-writer of this, he had pulled me to the side on my next visit, on the third visit, and said, we saw your audition videotaped, and you were really subdued compared to the guy that we really like. You weren't really giving us a lot. And so that's where that started. But yeah, because they wanted David Heavener like nobody's business. They did. And the man that thought I was a better, I guess, more commercial, a better choice was Larry Applebaum. And thanks for the question. It's quite kind of you to ask. But that's how that came to be. Larry kind of said, the kid looks like the younger kid, and he's not dark, and you guys wanted to get away from that dark stuff, and you might want to look at this kid again. I think he's right. And that's it. If it weren't for Larry Applebaum, they would have went with David Heavener, no question.
Well, God bless you, Larry Applebaum, wherever you are. Because I've said it before, I'll say it again. If somebody tried to play, and I don't know anything about David Heavener other than what I'd heard was that he was very serious and very dark and very broody, but trying to underplay it and be all dark and broody wouldn't have worked. Not in this movie. Not in this movie.
I agree. I'm sure, and I know he's done. He did a lot of work though. He was very busy in the business, and it's funny because prior to all that, I was doing a lot of extra work prior to this audition, and I know that's wrong because you're not supposed to even be an actor if you're an extra or whatever. But I did spend my days looking at the various TV shows I was on, looking at these actors, looking at the setups, looking at the direction. I didn't sit in a green room, waiting for my turn. So I had a familiarity with how it was all done. I would say that on the set and doing the work and all that, I wasn't nervous at all. I mean, because I was on shows like Cagney and Lacey and a whole string of other shows that were probably long forgotten, but I would watch and watch and watch and watch. And that was helpful if you use your time accordingly, and I did. And it helped me later. I don't know if I got a job on Moonlighting after this show with Bruce Willis and Sybil Shepherd, but I did get a gig on that.
Good show.
I was doing a lot of extra work on that show over at 20th Century, and it was always a good gig. And but Sybil Shepherd kept seeing me over and over. I was always there, it seemed like, but she had some really kind words for me one day that I was just blown away. She pulled me to the side, grabbed me by the hand, and suggested I move on and all that. And it was like a year later, I got a little bit of work on her show, delivering some flowers, and it was pretty freaking cool. So I was happy on that, but I don't know why I diverged it other than that. I came into the business a lot differently than others. I was doing extra work. I needed, it was $30 a day, and that's what I was doing for money. And so here we are.
You got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
What do you remember about these sequences with Dr. Bloom, the interview sequences? What do you remember about those and those shoots?
I came into that. It was the VA hospital, really a kind of a rundown VA hospital over in Westwood, West LA, and just almost a sad place to be. Old cement walls and just painted beige, and just really a horrible place to be. But it was a 2-day shoot there. And I'm not being negative, but it was what we wanted. It had the bars and the windows and had all that. And but Jim was very controlled. Very we didn't talk a lot. You would think we'd say, "Hey, how you doing?" We were actually from the same state, but I didn't know that till 30 years later. But Jim was, doing his business, and we had these scenes, and they were blocked out of what they wanted me to do. Stand up here, do this, and but he was good. He was a good guy. He was a nice guy, and I did my work. I hope that some of that came out decent between us, because there wasn't really any time to rehearse and get to know anyone. It wasn't. It was the first day of the thing, and shoot, and you do your best under those conditions of not really being able to talk to anybody. As odd as it was, that's how it went down. We were all independent contractors that actually had to talk to each other. So yeah.
So it was pretty run and gun. You get a couple of takes and then you move on.
Yeah. And I was a little animated in that stuff. I wish I wasn't. It would have been nice to just like that, maybe if the viewfinder was looked through and say, "Hey, Eric, there's plenty of time for Caldwell," So all in all, though, I must say that the movie was shot with energy. By Lee's, it was Lee's doing. It had energy. We kind of we took one and gave it a little, pumped it up a bit. I had some energy. We all did. Everyone had kind of raw energy on that, and it showed quite well in that. And I think the combination of the original movie and this one, it kind of flows real well. Lee did a great job of putting together that jigsaw puzzle, and of course there's humor involved in some of the badness, and so that's probably why we're here today. So thanks. I'm sorry to dominate. I'd rather listen to the other guys, but
our feelings are probably the opposite. This is fascinating hearing you talk about this.
But wasn't part of the reason why there was such a rush? Wasn't the producer constantly looming over Lee Harry's shoulder saying like, faster, quicker, get it done, move on, money, 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 money?
Yeah, was there a date? Like, were they trying to hit a particular release date that you were aware of?
It was more. I'm sure that was in their heads of when they wanted to get it done and get it in the can, so to speak. But I really think that it was more what Justin was thinking is we got to get all these shots here. We have $100,000 and 7 days, and so Larry Applebaum was literally the overlord in the room, standing there with his arms crossed. He was a gentleman from New York. He was all business. He wanted to just get the shot, move on. Get the shot, move on. I had heard the other night that the basic tenor, the basic word from Larry was, "This ain't art. Get the shot." And so that's where that goes down. Justin was on the money. It was we got a lot to get, and I don't think that Larry Applebaum really cared for a lot of Lee's. Lee had a lot of tricks up his sleeve, and a lot of dolly shots, a lot of these shots, a rack, double focus shots, and a lot of trick stuff in there, and a lot of extreme close-ups, and a lot of stuff to do for him, and he was really haggard. I was good at observing, as we all would be on the set, because you sit around a lot, and Lee was he was beaten down like a dog. He really was. But he did it.
Well, and even though I mean the stuff that you guys shot looks great, and there's a lot of dolly shots and a lot of tracking shots, particularly during the rampage, the camera moving all the way around you, and it looks really good for being so rushed and being really low budget. So I mean, he did a good job. It looks great.
It's something that because like we always, again, it's like a sin if we don't mention Friday the 13th on these things at least once or twice. But I actually feel like these movies seem like they're made better than some of the earlier entries in that series. They were going for a minimalism, really just trying to like rip off Halloween. These movies are, at least even in terms of the plot and the story, are aiming for something higher. Seem to be. Obviously, they were, as the second film is kind of combining with the first film, like we talked about earlier. But I can certainly, I don't know, I sort of appreciate that it seemed like they were trying to accomplish something more. And as a Catholic, former Catholic, lapsed Catholic, I don't know, there's something I find particularly powerful about sort of the deep-seated Catholic guilt stuff that goes on in these movies. Not that I ever experienced anything even remotely like this stuff, but I sort of get it. Like, there's something about that resonates with me personally. So it's interesting.
Yeah, no, I agree with you that it was a different time. People were, very religious, and that's why the fervor, of course, and had to pull it out of the theaters very quickly. But that was just, I'm sure, was just so horrible, so abhorrent to the legions of citizens here in the United States. They couldn't take it. What is this? And we look at it now, it's like it's all funny, but back then it was deadly serious. So.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. It does have, I would, even by today's standards, the opening of the first film where the guy holds up the liquor store and just shoots he doesn't just shoot him, he shoots him, then levels off and shoots him right between the eyes as he's already down. That's kind of blunt. And then the whole, attacking the mother and ripping her blouse open before cutting her throat, because you got to rip her blouse open to expose her breast before you kill her, of course.
As one does.
As one would in that situation, I would assume. I would say most of the detractors of that film, they saw those two sequences and said, "This is the work of the devil." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
they are shocking scenes. I mean, it's funny because we talk about it, the movie having sort of some goofy elements, but those are particularly dark, effective sequences. Like, it's interesting.
Very much, yes, very much.
Sorry, I don't mean to kill the commentary.
No. I was going to do something stupid and ask Justin, how many minutes are you in, by the way, Justin?
Let's see. 18 minutes and 57 seconds.
Okay. Good. I overshot my I overshot, but I'll get it. And cool. I was 24 minutes in. I got into some diatribe. I apologize, guys, and went way past it. So
how old were you here, Eric?
It was like 20.
20. My goodness.
Well,
Well, I mean, what was that like? Because you were, is it? You're 20 years old. You've been in the business for a short time, done a lot of extra stuff. Now you're starring in a movie. I mean, what was that? What was that like?
This is going to sound really strange and perhaps strange. As an actor, I would go out on a lot of auditions, and I did a lot of different things. I did extra work, and I just was really busy, keep making money, and I got into some Japanese department store, like model guy for every season. They'd come out, Parco, they were like Target. But my point is that, well, how can I put this? Well, I won't say it. What? I'm just gonna.
Did you have a big ego?
No, I didn't. Getting this was very good. I had and wanted to. What I wanted to do, I would get these little pieces of work or this or that, but it would always be, would you like fries with that, sir? Or it would be the dialogue you'd expect of a young kid or a young girl. And I was always searching for huge dialogue, big dialogue, stuff that I could show that I could do it. And so I wanted to be on a soap opera. Tons of dialogue. I did a ton of extra work on the soap opera. It's General Hospital, Days of Our Lives, really, Days of Our Lives, a lot of that. But I would, back when they were written well and they had great characters and they had 30 pages of dialogue, I wanted a soap opera like nobody's business. And I submitted to them. I got, this, that, and the other. I got through a friend that was in one of the unions called AFTRA. He gave me the show sheet of like all the shows and what the casting directors were. What I was shooting for is to get in on one of these. I wanted the 3-camera shoot. It's live. It shoots very, boom, 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 much like live theater on camera with a lot of dialogue. And I was hungry for that. So when this came up, it's not like I wasn't thrilled and I wasn't arrogant. I said, well, from what I know, this is just shooting some footage to add into original movie. And that's why I said earlier I wasn't nervous, which is odd because I thought about that the other night. I wasn't nervous on any of this stuff. Even that first day, it wasn't about arrogance or anything. It's like I would rather be somewhere else. But it's not like I didn't give my all. I no matter what I'm doing, whatever, I could be fixing a guitar here at home or whatever. I do the best I can with what I have, and I didn't shirk any my responsibility to it, other than it wasn't where I wanted to go. So luckily I didn't have any background of that movie at all. I didn't see it, didn't know of it. I don't know why they didn't want to share it with me. Maybe they thought I'd be tainted by it, or it's an odd thing why Lee didn't say give me more on that movie. And I guess either A, he assumed I knew the movie as we all did, or he didn't want me to see it because it would taint my work. And I can only think it'd be one of the two options there. But I do thank you for the question. I just wanted to go in another direction because I wanted huge dialogue and I didn't want, the usual one-liner stuff. And that might sound incredibly arrogant, but it's not.
No, you were ambitious.
Yes.
Which I mean,
and you actually answered a question that I had.
Don't take to have an age a bit. Okay.
What was that, Orc? You kind of
You haven't aged a bit, man. And also, I have another question because we usually sidetrack and I drive the show into the ground. But are you a fan of McDonald's? I need to know.
look at him. What do you think? Look at him, Orc. What do you think?
No, you kind of blanked out there, but McDonald's, like the
Yeah, McDonald's. Yeah.
Oh man, I tell you, God, like a quarter pounder. Oh, geez, just line me up, you know. Yeah, the answer is yeah, absolutely. I'm not gonna lie to you. I you know, when I was really poor, I would buy the hamburgers, just the hamburgers, because they were so cheap. I'd buy like 5 or 6 of them. So, yeah. Absolutely. When I go crazy and I want a burger, there's this place called In-N-Out Burger. You may have heard of it or not. They're actually very good. So yeah. I go nuts. Yeah.
Okay, to continue on with this. Sorry, my Wi-Fi is pretty bad. Are you a fan of Nations as well, sir?
What's Nations?
Oh, you mean Nathan's? Nathan's?
Nathan's, yes, Nathan's, yeah.
Oh, there we go.
I've never had one. Never. I think that isn't that East Coast, more East Coast business. The hot dogs, Nathan's.
I've never seen one.
Yeah, and I think
It might be.
I think there's a Nations up, and they're mostly in Northern California. I'm pretty sure it's called Nations. But
Nations,
what about
Nations?
Yeah. Are you a fan of Wendy's, or do you have a Whataburger in your neck of the woods, Eric?
There are Wendy's. Used to do that in Minnesota now and again, and but all in all, it's very. I had a burger last night when I had dinner with Justin Beam and Scott Perlman, 2 guys that you may know of, and but
nice.
I gotta admit to you, you know, it's maybe like a once a year occurrence now. But it used to be a mainstay. Really, I got to be honest. If I'm talking about what I used to eat, it was Tombstone pizzas and a lot of orange juice. And I used to always buy these Tombstone pizzas and of course a ton of a pot. You know, I used to smoke. It was shitty pot back then, but we would smoke a lot of it. So that's so sorry.
Legalization in a lot of places, I think, has improved the quality, from what I understand.
Yeah, I'm jealous.
All right, in my actor power rankings, you have now surpassed Daniel Day-Lewis. Sit down, Mr. Daniel. Get out of here. You're the man, Eric. I love it.
We're at an interesting point in the movie where we're seeing the death of Linnea Quigley, or about to see the death of Linnea Quigley from the first movie. Eric actually worked with Linnea Quigley and had a love scene with Linnea Quigley in Murder Weapon. What was working with Linnea Quigley like, Eric?
Well, at the point I worked with her, she was the grande dame of that shoot. She had kind of the strut. She was really a good friend of David Dakota's, and so it was her baby somehow. Somehow, Murder Weapons, either she brought it to him or something. There was more to it than her being an actress on that movie. I don't know the particulars, but the story on that was, you know, we had a ton of dialogue and ton in a sense that just Gatling gun of getting shots. David doesn't fuck around, and boy, oh boy, he does not fuck around. But there was a part where I said, David, it was Linnea and I are supposed to hop in this red convertible, like going to the store to get beer or something. Point is, the scene was originally written that we're making out in the car, and this character that I'm playing, you know, apparently ejaculates in his shorts. It's like he just prematurely ejaculates while making out with her, feeling her tits, and I said, David, you know, trying to build a career here, and could we change this? I said, I don't like this. And so he said on the spot, well, what do you suggest? And I kind of top of my head said, well, you know, perhaps I can just say, but I don't want to make love to you in your car. I respect you too much. How about a blowjob instead? And so that's the way that went down. So that was a really poorly executed, because David looked at me after I suggested that line and like kind of nodded his head, you know, negative, like, and then he walked away because he's very busy. So I thought, oh fuck, I'm going to have to, you know, come in my shorts and fuck? And so it came to be where he hopped in the car, and then David says, give me the line. And I was like, give me the line. It kind of took a nanosecond for my head to get around it. And so it was really an impromptu line delivery, and it was as wooden as funny, but terrible delivery. Or I thought it was terrible, but you know, you don't get a second take with David, so that it lives on, and that's that's my Linnea Quigley story. And she wasn't too excited about that line, but you know, fuck it was I nobody would have wanted what I had to do, so you know.
I actually think she's listed as like a producer on that movie. As a matter of fact, I saw it for the first time a few years ago, and it's a David Dakota movie. It's a David Dakota movie. So my girlfriend had looked you up on IMDb, and she was like, "Let's watch Murder Weapon," and I was like, "Eh." I was like, Eric's in it. You know what I mean? We can watch it for Eric. I mean, I watched it for you when I watched it, and yeah, it's a David Dakota movie, and you can tell he gets those one takes and he moves on. I think like the first 45 minutes of it, and I'm not necessarily well, not the first 45 minutes, but like the first 15 minutes of it is just a woman sunbathing next to the pool topless, which I'm not complaining, but you got to pad that runtime out a little bit.
This is Murder Weapon's the name of this?
This is Murder Weapon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Boys, I respect you all too much. So no, my advice is don't. But yeah. Well, I'll leave it there. What was I going to say on that? Oh, yes, that's who David Dakota is. We had some line in there, not to get off on that movie, but we were all together, and one of the guys dropped one of his lines of dialogue. It's called "Going Up on Your Lines," and some guy flubbed it, and we finished the scene, and I said, David, it was pivotal for me. I wanted that scene to go smoothly because I was always thinking of having scenes for a reel and important scenes for me, and that thing went to shit because of a drop in the line. But I said, David, we're going to do that again. He says, no, I'll just cut to something. And I kept thinking, cut to what? I mean, there was nothing to cut to, but out it went. So that's how David is. He doesn't massage scripts. He doesn't make them better. He doesn't look at how awful they are. He just he shoots it, and he's very good at it. He's the man if you want to get it done. I mean, he's 5 days on a movie, and he gets it. He's the best guy you could ever imagine. If you want to shoot a movie, now massaging it to get the most out of it and all that's for somebody else. But
yeah. That's why the guy directs like 10 movies a year, something like that. He's got quite an extensive resume.
He does.
Now, you said that you didn't see the first film before making part two. When was it that you actually did see the first film?
Recently, in as time flies, about the time that I popped up out of total obscurity, I bought the 1 and 2 combination of the 1 and 2 on DVD. So 4 years ago, I saw it. I'd like to say 4 years, but every time I say that, it's probably been 6 years. But you know how time is. But yeah, recently.
Mm-hmm. Well, and you're friends with Robert Brown Wilson, who played Billy, your big brother, your on-screen big brother, and he's a very nice guy. If you guys get the opportunity to meet him or Eric at a convention, you certainly should. And he, Robert Brian Wilson's performance in the first movie is very underplayed and very brooding, and it's perfect for that movie and the tone of that movie. You know what I mean? That performance in Silent Night, Deadly Night 2 just wouldn't have worked. Would not have worked, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I guess I'll say this. Robert's he is a normal guy, decent guy, and it's like he said nobody knows me when I'm raking my lawn, and he's just went out and has a good career, and a good family, and he did everything right. I think there's a lot of sadness for actors if they hang in there and it's just they're plugging away. So getting out of it and getting a career is smarter, way smarter, and he did it. And now he's kind of dabbled back in, but he's a hell of a good guy, and I'm glad I know him. He kind of showed me the ropes of the conventions on the first one, and he's really built more for the conventions. It took a little getting used to for me. So,
but you did you did very well at the Horror Hound in Cincinnati. You did very well, and the fans were. Whenever I would go by your table, you always had people lined up, and they were extremely happy to meet you. So,
yeah, I want to spend time with the people because they come from all areas, and when I look at these situations of them driving hundreds of miles or flying in, or as you did, Justin came in from Kentucky, but that's what it is. They'll drive 1,000 miles and bring some collage or something they made of the combination of 1 and 2, and I'd be a biggest dick in the fucking world if I didn't get up and talk to him, because that's the way I feel. I grew up in the same environment, and I get it, man. I'd like to be the friend for half an hour, and then if I got a line, and then I got the promoter, you're kind of yelling at me, like, sit down and sign. But no, it's more important that I talk to people, because I want to know where they came from and what's going on and what they do. And there's no time to do that, but I try. So, because it's more interesting to me than what I do, and what the people that come to see me are way more interesting. So.
Now, do you have any convention appearances lined up in the near future you want to announce?
Thanks. There is something coming up in Texas, in Dallas. Frightmare, I think it's called, in May. Don't know sure the date, but I committed to that. I'm asked once in a while to do these things, and that's fine. That's cool.
Yeah. Texas Frightmare, I believe it's May 3rd through the 5th in Texas. So mark your calendars. Come see Eric.
Well, that's very kind. I hope it's good. I hope we can do some sort of panel Q&A, kind of like we're doing now there, because those are interesting too.
Mm-hmm.
And, I like that stuff.
Yeah.
So, random trivia, but that cop who just shot Santa, I think he's on screen because I think we're pretty well synced up here, Piz. I'm pretty sure he's the doctor from Halloween 5, the one who's taking care of little Jamie in the hospital.
Oh my God, he might.
I just checked on IMDb, and I'm pretty sure it's an actor's name is Max Robinson. I think that's the same guy.
Wow.
And I'm sorry, this is a random. But I knew I recognized him, and I was like, why do I know who he is?
Wow. Yep.
He's the guy who says to Loomis, "You still want this girl dead." He's that.
Also, let me plug Eric's website. If you guys want autographed posters, the garbage cans. I should have got my garbage can. Damn it. The garbage cans, galvanized garbage cans, signed by Eric Freeman. Okay, TheEricFreeman.com. THEE EricFreeman.com. 8x10s, posters, garbage cans, for God's sake. No better Christmas gift for a loved one than. There you
Thank
go.
you. No, garbage cans are cool. They're cool. It was a stroke of something. I don't know, inspiration. But that was someone said you should sign garbage can lids or something. This promoter of the cons, and I said no. I said it should be miniature garbage cans. You know, the ones you see in the back of tow trucks. They're usually carrying a guy's gloves or chains or whatever. The AAA tow truck guys or whatever. And I started thinking, are there miniature garbage cans out there? And so that's how that came to be. It's kind of nutty, but it seems to be a seller. It's funny. I love writing on them. I usually write all over the bottom of the can, like whatever, just stuff. Again, it's important to me that it be something special, because if they do go to the point of buying one, man, I I feel like I should just give all on it. It's just right.
William Lowry in the chat, he says it would be awesome if Eric came to Mississippi to the Mississippi Comic-Con. Well, email the Mississippi Comic-Con and tell them that you want Eric Freeman there.
Yeah. That's how it works. You basically, if there's a demand for it, they'll reach out.
Yep, that's true.
I gotta ask, just because I'm total idiot. I rewind and forget, and I go forward and I'm so far out of sync on this. Where are you guys at the movie?
We are about to be right into the heart of Silent Night Daily Night 2.
Oh, cool.
39 minutes and about 30 seconds, somewhere in that neighborhood.
Okay.
So we're about to switch over to the Ricky story.
Cool.
Amen.
It's the part where someone's bringing out the garbage. I don't know. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, really obscure scene.
And if you meet Eric at a convention, please don't just run up to him and say garbage day. Just don't. Just be cool. You know what I mean? Just be cool.
I can never ever replicate that.
That was a once in a. I mean, that even it could put him in the hospital if he got close, because I mean that takes a lot out of him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
At the top of the show, you were talking a little bit about kind of your lack of direction, and you've kind of talked about it ongoing throughout this. That it was very workmanlike. Like you're just, it was, hey, we got to do this scene. Let's get through the scene and move on. But are you able to expand on that at all? I mean, were you able to get anything from the director in terms of how they wanted you to be, or what they thought, your perspective should be in a particular scene, or was it just very much, that's it, let's see what you do, and then let's move on?
More the latter. It's no hit on anyone. There wasn't any direct, like you're playing it too big or this or that. There wasn't any advice at all on the performance level of it, but rather, there's always we need you to get over here on these marks, and there's a lot of technical stuff to make sure you stay in focus, as you guys know, and all that. So the technical parts of it, that's what we would block it real quickly. I need you to go over here, and I need you to do this and that, but on that performance end of it, no. And I gotta admit, I tried for years to figure out why did I do that the way I did it, and because I knew I could do, I did other stuff, and I knew, it's just I guess I just didn't know how to do that brand of crazy. It is probably the best way to put it. And but normal, or emoting, or have a sympathetic character, or this or that, or other stuff I did, I did quite well that many people have not seen. But this particular brand of crazy, I just I was in uncharted waters.
So. And Lee Harry has even said that he didn't realize how big you played it until they were in the editing room.
Yeah.
So I mean, clearly his mindset was, we've got to get this done. You know what I mean? He's got Larry Applebaum over his shoulder. He's got a limited amount of time. And you shot a lot of this stuff without permits too, right?
Yes, quite a bit of it.
So, I mean, yeah.
But you are right. It's it was fun to do. It really was. All a good experience. Larry Applebaum was kind of a dick to me on one day too. One of the grips broke a big glass vase or something right in the middle of the scene. We were actually Lee was set up. I knew it was the Garbage Day Rampage stuff, and we were getting ready to do, and Lee was backed up way by the house, up the driveway, and he was shooting out towards the street, and the grip broke something on the street, and I found a dustpan and a broom, and I started sweeping it up, and boy, Larry Applebaum tore into me like nobody's business. and stars don't sweep up glass, and he's and I was like, well, I said, I'm sitting on my ass doing nothing, Larry. I said, hey, no problem, and I just sweeped it up and just left it on the side in the dust, whatever the thing, but I just didn't seem to think that I was, merited. Oh, he's a movie star, I can't do that shit. Bullshit, So I did it, and I finished my job, and what the fuck. But I understand what he's saying. It probably looked really tacky or bad for me, but I didn't come from that school. There's a mess, clean it up, kind of thing. So
Well, and didn't Joe Earl?
Are you a fan of Christian Bale's Rent, by chance?
I've never seen it.
It's a few years back. It just maybe you have heard of it. It's like a few years back while he was making that other Terminator movie, like a lighting
Salvation.
guy. Yeah, Terminator Salvation, like a lighting guy. What did he do? He like stepped into the light, or he did something
Like
while
that.
Christian Bale was monologuing, and someone recorded Christian Bale's reaction to this. He goes on for like 5 minutes, tearing this guy apart. Like, I mean, honestly, if you were to go to YouTube right now, I'm sure you can pull that up. But it was all over the news for a while because it was pretty infamous. He had to go around and like apologize because he was a real asshole in that sound clip.
He's kind of method, I think, and it was the lighting director, and he didn't like step on the set, but he kind of crossed his eye line as he was doing a scene, and I guess it distracted him and pissed him off, and he went into that epic rant, which was quite hilarious. I felt sorry for the guy he was yelling at, though, because holy shit. Man.
The main part is, though, he says, I'm going to trash your fucking lights. It's hilarious. He's like, you're such a fucking amateur. God damn.
What's the director's name? McG. He kept yelling, McG! McG!
Well, Eric, didn't Joe Earl have some? Didn't Joe Earl keep bringing up this David Heavener guy, like, oh, we should have got him because he would have done it differently or something? Like, I mean, wasn't he saying stuff like that to kind of get under your skin or to motivate you or something?
Well, it wasn't to motivate me. I've almost forgotten that, but yeah, on several occasions, Joe really wanted Heavener. I mean, like nobody's business. I know I said that before, but to the point that he reminded me on several occasions during the first couple of days and then into the Rampage. I drove my Mustang to the set that morning, and I was fuming in a sense that I said, if that guy mentions, the other guy again to me, because look, whatever I was doing on the set, I was doing it. I was doing my job. I just wanted to not be reminded of that guy and Joe wanted him, and but he kept bringing him up, and that driving to the set that morning, it was early, it was the Rampage day, big day. And I said, and I was headstrong, there's no doubt I would have walked, because I said that in the car to myself, if he brings that fucker up to me one more time, I am fucking walking. And I'm sorry, but that's the way I had enough of it. But that's what was going on for me on that. But Joe also was commenting on my work, and I don't blame him, because there was a time when I was surrounded by all the cops and the gun was to my head, and I did a piss poor job of line reading there, or it was just probably whatever, over animated, or I don't know what it was. It was not quite what I wanted. I didn't like it right when I did it, and Joe walked up and said, Eric, that was terrible. And I said, yeah. I said, let's do it again. But we didn't. And so, that's the way that went down. I think I'm trying to get my sound going here. There we go.
Were there positive experiences that you remember? Like, you hear behind the scenes stories of like other films where it's like, the cast, wherever you guys are filming, like you get together at some like local joint, and it just kind of, there's some experiences that come out of that. I mean, it seems like you guys were you in the LA area? My apologies. I actually don't recall where this was filmed, but was there anything like that you recall?
Well, there was Sierra Madre,
Okay.
beautiful area that we went to for those exteriors. Rampage, and a lot of it. Really, majority of what we did is in a place called Sierra Madre, and
Yeah.
quite a nice area. It's really a nice area to live. I imagine it's very expensive now, but there was no camaraderie or any kind of rapport or any time to really make any kind of friendships
Oh, okay.
at all. And but I'm it would have been nice. I just there was normally you do have a lot of time waiting for the setup and this and that, but everyone's kind of. I guess if you've got, I would have on my mind what I'm going to be doing, and I would, if it was a scene or something, like all that outside stuff with the garbage, the umbrella, and Frank Novak and Lenny Rose. I didn't have a lot of dialogue, so those are the days you can goof around and make friends and stuff because you don't have the heaviness of I have tons of dialogue to get down. But when you got those dialogue days, you hole up and because you don't want to muff up and hold it. You don't want to screw anyone over. And yeah.
I know one thing that Elizabeth Caitlin did say about you during this shoot that she recalled was how, like, between takes and stuff, you were always pumping iron. And yeah,
no, there's some truth in that. But the day there was a night shoot for the umbrella and scene, and I did bring a flat bench that I still have today. I still use, and some dumbbells, some 45s. And I felt since that it called for me being in a t-shirt because of that scene. I'm coming out of the restaurant carrying garbage, and I thought, okay, what? Yeah, I'm just gonna pump up with these in here. So I put the bench out there, and a lot of people were remarking like, "What's this?" It was very kind of I guess they would be a lot of actors who would do that now, but back then it was like almost verboten. And but I did it, and it was screen. I wanted, hey, it was important to me to do that at that time. Whether I don't know what you want, narcissistic or whatever, but it was important for me to do that, and so I did it.
Well, it shows. I mean, you look great.
Yeah, we're at that scene right now, as a matter of fact, and that's a tight shirt. So I mean,
Well, I remember Chris Evans was talking about there's like a scene in the was it Captain America Civil War where he has to like pull a helicopter down or whatever. And I remember reading an interview with him where he was basically saying he was doing that, but for that purpose. It's like, okay, I knew there was this big shot. I have to wear like a tight shirt and like pull a helicopter down. It's like I wanted to make sure I looked good. So like right before every take, he was doing that exact same thing. Like he was hitting the weights so that like his muscles would really pop while he's doing this shot that like focuses directly on them. So I mean, hey, maybe you were a trendsetter.
But the part that I didn't understand that Liz was talking. Liz, I worked with her on that first day. The first 2 days were the VA. But when I worked with Liz, I didn't bring those. It's a kind of a big deal to carry a bench in your car. I had a Mustang Fastback, a '65. There wasn't a lot of room, but the only day I brought weights was the day she wasn't there at all. But I think the scuttlebutt got through the whole crew that pumping weights. It must have been like a joke I didn't know about, or they were making fun of me or something. I don't know, or just. But she brought that up as if I was like some narcissistic dude in the corner pumping weights every 5 minutes. But the reality was for that day, as I knew I was in this blue sweater, this Kmart sweater, the blue light special sweater. So I didn't press the point. As it were, but that one night. So,
hey Eric, I need to know, can you write a diet book? Because you still look basically identical to this movie. It looks like you haven't even aged one day. I need a diet book. Can you do that for me? Because I'm morbidly obese. As a fan coming to you.
Your McDonald's question might disqualify you.
Or he said like once a year.
Chins, but
So there's a hit, like McDonald's like once a year. Not once a day.
The worst question is never asking it, Okay, so
you're talking
Sorry,
to Orc. You're talking to Orc here, which is more like McGriddle for breakfast, 2 quarter pounders for lunch, Big
Baconator
Macs.
for dinner.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
You
Couple
know
of holiday
how
pies.
Rocky does the eggs? Rocky's they have the stack McGriddles now. I just put a bunch of them in a blender and just
Oh,
drink them all down.
But we'll have a diet
Yeah.
vitamin water. We'll
Yep.
have a sugar-free drink.
Well, yeah, Coke
Yeah.
Zero, Diet Coke, because I mean, the way you look in this film is just amazing. Like I wish I could not have moves and like look like you. Like this is amazing.
Because even like the
Oh, man.
physicality, like
One
even
day.
versus
Yeah.
the first film, I guess because he's wearing the Santa outfit for most of it, but like again, just the umbrella kill just happened. It seems plausible to me that your character could actually lift this dude up and like impale him like he just did. I mean, you're pretty ripped in this.
Oh, you're very kind. I got to say, Frank was a big bull of a man, strong and thick, and could kill me 9 times over. The kind of guy that could just hurt you, and it's not any trouble for him. You always meet people like that, just strong, kind of an elephant of a man, and he was. And thank God that he made me look good, because but he was bumping into me. That first thing he bumps into me, what are you looking at, kid, and all that. But there was a lot of technical problems on that, or audio, or somebody, he had to keep doing it over and over, and he was literally bumping into me and knocking me off my. But I do remember I asked him, hey, could you ease up on that, because you're knocking me right off my feet here. He was a big dude, big strong dude, and I used to see him on auditions a lot, and he used to drive a big old yellow taxi, used to be a like taxi cab, but he would drive it as his regular car. But I'd see him on auditions quite a bit, and I apparently had a good career, and I'm happy for him.
And the umbrella scene is one of your favorite scenes in the film, right?
It is, and I'm catching up with you, because I've kind of on a fast forward here. I'm actually where Frank's starting to beat up Lenny Rose, but I like that. I guess because I'm not as crazy as other times in the movie, but I just enjoy that. I think that's a good scene. I love the fact that umbrella, just the whole impaling. Novel, I guess. Maybe it wasn't novel for me. I thought, oh, no one's ever done this. That's cool, and it was done quite well on the cheap. It was really a low budget thing, but it worked, but I'm happy I did that, and it came out well. And I wish they would have kept some of the intestines and more blood, but they had to just strip that down for the ratings. And but all in all, thanks for asking.
What was
All right, I'm at the part where you're on your bike, and you look better than Tom Cruise. I'm just throwing that out there.
Or
I don't know if you're into Scientology,
or
but
calm
let's be real.
down. Or take
Yeah,
a cold
come
shower.
on.
Calm
Yeah.
down.
Should you guys go into like a
Calm down.
private
What?
chat or something? What's going on here?
What?
Calm down, Orc.
Where are your hands, Orc? It's starting to get creepy.
Oh my.
But yeah, we're a lot of horror fans know of Elizabeth Caton from Friday the 13th Part 7. What was she like to work with? I know you guys probably didn't get a whole lot of time together since it was so rushed, but what was she like?
Great. I did meet her on that love making scene, which is very pathetic, but it was what that scene was. Yeah, I met her. She was already like in bed with covers over her when I came out of the side bathroom, and it was supposed to be just Lee and the DP Harvey Jenkins there, and even Lee said, "We're going to strip this down, Eric. It'll just be me and Harvey." And then it was a pile of people in there, but I walked into the bathroom, and I had the foresight. I said, well, it's different for guys and chicks. They actually look better if it's a little nippy in the air there, because their nipples will respond. But a guy's got to, I had to have my junk hanging out when it came out. So and Oric, sell down. And but no, I drank some vodka, and quite a bit of it. And because I said, oh, Lord, I didn't know what
I'm
I would
sorry,
be
I'm
up for.
Have a Costanza moment. I was in the pool.
These are
And,
trade secrets we're hearing here. So
yeah, shrinkage. It's shrinkage. But no, it had to be a situation. I didn't know what to expect. It was written quite differently than it came out, but I just felt, and what I knew is that I'd just come out naked, let them all get used to it, because I'd be standing there or sitting there or lying there or whatever. But it turned out that it was just a very tame, tasteful bit of business. And I think I'm just coming up to that scene now. I'm catching up to you guys with, but yeah, no, Liz was great. To answer that, and just to let you know how nice she was and decent. It was wrapping for the day. I was not going to see her again. She was in a white t-shirt and blue jeans and some cool little boots, like Uggs or whatever. And she was hopping in a crappy 4-door Thunderbird, or what we would call a $50 car. She was hopping in this shit brown Ford and about to, and I said, Liz, I said, and I don't know why I asked this, but I said, why are you driving that thing? Meaning like, because you're so hot and this and that or whatever. But she goes, because I don't care. And she didn't care at all about all of this. But she was just what you would want, as if you're looking for a girl, she'd be that kind of down home, not affected by it all kind of person. And so a delightful lady. And you can see that in the Blu-ray. She's being interviewed, but she still as perky and nice as ever, and a good person. And of course, I was infatuated, because any girl that doesn't have, I would come across these starlets or whatever, and they're a lot of attitude with these actresses, but she had none. So it's intriguing. It's like a woman that yells at you too, the one that insults you or something. There's something intriguing about that as well. But she was the opposite. It couldn't have been more kind. And yeah.
And the first day you met her, she was naked. You were naked. So I mean,
yes.
Hey.
Yeah. Yeah. But you can't work at it like this is a salacious boner inducing moment, because no, you can't. It's business. But right. It would be nice if it were one of those. But all in all, no, cool girl, normal.
Cool.
Can't find that too often.
Yeah, very cool. And we're at the theater scene here.
Oh, good.
The guy who's sitting next to the loudmouth is actually the director, Lee Harry. That's his little cameo in the movie.
Ah.
Yeah.
Just to fill me in, not to be a dick, but I wanted to ask how many minutes we're in.
Let's see. I'm at 102, 105, 105, 102.05.
Yep.
1 hour, 2 minutes, and 5 seconds. Chip has just popped on.
The douchebag boyfriend has just made an appearance.
The douchebag Chip. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I'm real close, guys. I'm 1 minute off, but that's better than I have been. So thanks for keep me posted. Yeah, Chip, the college boy.
You know what? He played this character perfectly. He's got that little arched eyebrow. He's got he nailed it. He nailed it.
He's every 80s asshole. Like that's just
rolled into one.
Distilled into this, look at his hair.
Look, guys, you're right. He showed up on the set. I don't know if he did a ton of work before. It was his first time, but he was really a pro. He was really good. And I was very pleasantly pleased to just he had it. He had what he was doing. He did it, and it was great. And I remember he was asking me, oh, you work out, and I said, and he was very adamantly opposed to the working out. He goes, well, I do isometrics, and he kind of dynamic tension, I used to call it. He'd like push one arm against another and all that, and kind of show me he was thin, but he had a nice little build. And but it turns out he ended up in later life being a big bodybuilder and in the Marines and quite a bit different from hating bodybuilding. He got into it, so
Well,
very cool.
yeah.
Yeah, nice guy.
See, this is the kind of detail you don't get anywhere else. This is good.
I'm sorry if I'm boring you at all, or you want to move on and ask me something else, please do.
Not at all. Who else would
Okay.
ask about that character, and who else would explain? Like, no, this is awesome. I meant that was not a joke. I meant that legitimately. I mean, I think if you like our show, you must have watched us. We talk about minutia. Like that's pretty much what we get into. It's like the guy in the corner of the scene who's making a funny face. Like that's the guy we talk about.
Yeah.
Okay.
Eric, besides long walks on the beach, what do you like to do in your spare time? Do you like to game, watch other film, watch TV, maybe a little Breaking Bad, or maybe a little Miami Vice? I don't know. What do you like to do, Eric?
You're not going to be Netflixing and chilling with Eric anytime soon. But Eric,
dude, I'm just trying to ask regular questions, and you're throwing it off topic, being the shitty moderator. Come on, dude, get shit together, Piz.
Eric did mention
Let's go.
one of his hobbies. It's kind of a side business for him is repairing guitars.
Yeah.
So that's and if you've seen any of Eric's videos on YouTube, he's a pretty darn good guitar player.
Nice.
Oh, thank you. I don't play enough to be. I should play more. I think we all should. That we play, and I don't know why I haven't, because I should knuckle down. I think I could get decent. But it takes time, guys. Like anything else, it's.
How did you first learn?
A short story, and I'll be short on it. My older brother, had a really cool guitar. I think it was from Brazil. It was called a Giannini. It was an acoustic with a cutaway. But it was I was a kid. I think I was 12, and he goes, "Here, see if you can do something with this. It won't play." And that's I got into guitars on the technical end of it. I fixed this thing. I got the action right. The action was a mile high on it. It was all wrong. It was just you couldn't play it for the world. But I didn't know much. I didn't know that you could do things a lot easier. But I took the bridge out of it and I ground it down to bring the string height down real low from the bridge area down real low. I made it play like electric guitar. And then my brother took it back, and that was that. But then years later, I was handed a mandolin from a lady died that I knew, and her son gave me the mandolin, and from that I got back into. I started working on guitars, and then I got kind of a little reputation for. I fixed a bass for a guy in a band, and I really put heart and soul into it, but it paid off because he was referring work to me after that. But I like just buying Fender Stratocasters, and I like fixing them up. And I just sold a Stratocaster the other day to a transvestite in San Francisco.
We can't talk about that, sir.
Interesting. Very
Come on.
interesting.
Yeah.
Mr. Freeman, I have a question. What are your favorite bands to listen to when you're jamming out in the coop?
I do my own stuff. I'm not that good. Maybe I'm not good enough to do that, but I like listening to. I grew up on I'm older than you guys, so I grew up on like Robin Trower, the Power Trio bands, and I like Clapton but I like I just listen to a lot of guys that the Deep Purple and Richie Blackmore and.
Nice.
I like guitar, and I like rock guitar. I like it to kick ass, and that it's saddened to see where music has gone today because it's just so pussified.
So you like that like auto-tune bullshit? Here, let's have a duet. Eric Freeman, first ever Sausage Factory exclusive. Layla got me on my knees.
Okay.
Come on.
We are about to embark upon the rampage.
You mean cinematic history?
Cinematic history is being made here.
Okay.
You've strangled Liz, which is a great moment. Now you've got the Rent-A-Cop, and you just
I like that effect.
Yeah, it's very very good effect, very effective. You've got the gun, and it's about to be party time. Now, from what Lee Harry said originally, what they had envisioned was for you to like start going into people's houses and slaughtering people inside their houses, and then he was like, "Let's just do this on the street." So,
did he say why they made that? Just it was easier than going into the houses and lighting them and getting them all set up.
I would imagine. Yes. What do you remember about this shoot? The rampage, Eric? Wait, hold on. Give us 1 second. It's about to happen. 1 second. It's about to happen. Here it comes. This is it. This is it. Oh my God.
Wow.
There it is.
There it is. Oh my God.
The subtlety.
Poor bastard.
Yeah, it's so subtle.
I can't believe I just watched that sequence with Eric Freeman. Jesus God.
Orc's gonna have to go change his pants.
Baby, let's go.
I think Orc's got a big wet stain on the front of his pants now.
No, here's my fucking hands. There you go. Come on.
Oh Jesus.
That's what a fleshlight.
Oh wow.
What was this day? Because I think it was like 2 days, wasn't it? This whole rampage scene was 2 days.
No, 1 day. It was. Okay. It was. Well, I don't know. I'm kind of unclear. Well, I do know that. No, the rampage was all 1 day because it was all. Here's what was all 1 day. Liz and I walking down the sidewalk. Chip coming into play on that. It's electrocuting Chip, strangling Liz, Rent-A-Cop. We even took time on that same freaking day for this Chevette to be rolled and blown apart, and because we wanted to make sure we got that, and the rampage as well. All of this in 1 day, guys.
Wow.
I know it's just so. There's no two takes, and I'm pretty close to being synced up. He's out of his mind, So.
Was that you, or was there a stunt guy who avoided the car? Because it looked like that was a really close miss. Was that you, or was that like a stunt person who because when the car goes up, it looks like it almost hits Ricky, but was that someone else?
Yeah, Justin knows this well, and others probably know this, but yeah, that was a guy named Spiro Razotos, and okay. Spiro was a stunt guy, and it just missed him. And the guy,
that was the guy that you actually shot for the garbage day scene. That's the same guy.
Yes. Yes. Spiro had balls, big balls. I mean, Orc. Pay attention. But he
did you see? Freeman's got the biggest balls over them all.
But he did real well. And that was a scene. I think we just saw that No More Bullets thing, and whatever, that scene just went by. But Spiro was fantastic. He made me look good, and I was right there watching it. I was shocked at how close that came to him. He had like cat-like reflexes and just got out of the way at the split second.
Yeah, he did.
He's so like nonchalant. He just like, it's like he just at the very last, he just kind of moves a little bit, just very nonchalantly. You know what I mean? Which makes it even cooler,
It almost makes it seem like he wasn't aware how close the car was. That's my read of that, and maybe I'm misjudging.
I think he just had balls of steel. He was just like,
to be a stunt person, you have to have incredible intestinal fortitude, and whatever it takes to get the shot, they'll take the hit most of the time and make it look good. So yeah, those guys are pros.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was impressed.
Eric, you said you might be the oldest, but actually, B-Movie Mike is a World War I veteran, so we're here to honor him today.
Look, I love Mike because he reminds me of that guy from Home Improvement that's behind the fence. and
Wilson.
I said that. Didn't I say that a few weeks ago?
well,
I've heard that one before. It's cool.
I love
No,
it.
Tim.
I love it. That is so cool. It always, never divulge your identity. I love it.
Oh my God.
I don't know. Eric and I might be pretty close in
actually
age.
played one of the
What year was
guitar,
this
too.
movie made?
It's 87.
I'm sorry.
What year was this movie made? You were 20?
80. It might have been made in 86. You know how that goes. 87. I'm not sure. It came out. Yeah. It probably shot in 86, I would think. And yeah,
I'm only a couple years behind you. I was born in 68, so I was like 18 in 86.
Oh, you're a pup. I don't go from this. I don't like this idea of age and meaning. I think if someone's just has youthful spirit and such, that's good. It's a good thing.
I think that's how you make it to be older, right?
Yeah,
I think if you start feeling like an old person, you are old, you know?
Oh, I just turned 50 this year, and I feel good. I mean, I was watching an interview with Clint Eastwood, and he said, you're 88 years old, but you don't act like an old man. He said, because I didn't let the old man in. Right? I'm still me. I didn't let the old guy take over. Screw him. And that's always kind of been. It's not a Peter Pan attitude. It's just because I am old, that doesn't mean I have to behave a certain way. I mean, to somebody in their 20s, I'm old. To somebody in their 80s, I'm young. So it's all just kind of like, sooner or later you'll get there, but why rush it? I'm just enjoying
Mike,
the
do you
moment.
say get off my lawn yet? That's what I want to know.
No.
Get on my lawn.
Nah.
But Mike, the really important question though, how was Star Wars: The Last Jedi? That was a good movie, right?
Oh God, no. Let's not go there. Let's not go there.
Enough said on that one.
Let's not go there. To go back to the rampage scene, do you remember like what your I don't want to say your method, or what do you remember, like kind of what you were thinking about, when you were shooting that, or what you want, what your thought process was going into the rampage sequence?
Gosh, I'd like to answer that with some sort of cogent, answer, but it was also so rushed. It was garbage day, and I read the line like I did, and I spun the guns, part of it spinning and blowing smoke. That was my little thing, because I wanted to keep some business going in that. Like someone that has a cigarette in a scene or something, you get to smoke. It's just business, but I wish I could say something cool, guys. The thing is I just went out there and read the freaking line, and it was, way over the top, but
it looked like it was fun to shoot, at least, because I mean, you're shooting people, and I mean, it looked like it was fun.
Yeah. The guy comes out and he's checking the gun over again and again, and the blanks, and you know how to use this, and they're very safety conscious, and of course, and
that's good.
But yeah, that was a lot to take in that day. You try not to be overwhelmed with any of this, and do you stop for any part of it and say, "God, I'm making a movie"? Wow, no, I didn't. It's serious. I guess that's maybe I never got there as an actor, in the sense that I would like to keep the humor and sense of humor about yourself in serious times and or in scenes, or I don't know. You have to be like natural within the parameters of everything being not real, or so it's a funny little dichotomy. You have to be yourself or be natural, in a non-realistic setting. So I did what I did, but it was all youthful. It was freaking balls, I guess.
Yeah, it was. It was. We're at the you're at the Mother Superior's house now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I love I love your performance here too, because you just seem so delighted to be there to kill her, and you're like savoring every moment up to killing her. Um, I love this sequence as well. This is just great stuff.
Yeah.
I like how wily she is.
You know, there's a little story on this one because I was in a hallway behind the door, and Lee and the whole crew were set up there to get the shot, and I'm to hack down the door, and I thought it was kind of a ripoff of The Shining, which I did see, Jack Nicholson, and I know that some of you have probably heard this story, but I said, let's pull the pins out of the door and let me run down the hallway and jump onto the door so that the whole door comes down like a surfboard and I'm on top of it with the axe. That's how I wanted to enter the scene. And I was pushing my ass off on that to get that. And it wasn't the house was owned by some people that were living downstairs. They were renting out the top of this, and they didn't want to scuff the floor. They didn't want to do this. My idea was great. But it didn't happen. I had to cut the thing out and do it that way. But, I really thought at this point Caldwell's out of his freaking mind, and let's have a big entrance. And so wasn't to be, but it's a little backstory. But I did push.
I'm really mad now. Love that. I'm really mad now. She does, because I mean, really, what an awful character. I mean, not an awful character, but what an awful person the Mother Superior is. From the first movie, I mean, you know, she didn't get her comeuppance in the first movie, and I really wish she would have. Now, you know, the big brother couldn't take care of business. You know, the little brother's going to back clean up. And
why couldn't they get the original actress? Was it a money thing? I know this was kind of being done on the cheap, but I thought the original Mother Superior was just really striking.
Yeah. It was. I think Lee Harry had said that they reached out to her, but it was a money thing.
Got it.
Yeah.
Well, that's backstory. I didn't know that part of it. But yeah, she was good. She was solid. You know, scary. Well,
See, and what a change for the genre. Usually it's like a pretty young girl evading the killer at the end of the movie, not a geriatric in a wheelchair trying to avoid the killer.
That's because Ricky is the hero of this movie. You know?
In this particular circumstance. I mean, when you think about how the later Friday the 13th sort of portrayed themselves, that, you know, you were sort of just rooting for Jason the whole time. You know, the characters were so despicable. Part 5 characters, I'm looking right at you, that you're sort of just watching them get killed and knocked off, and that's you're rooting for the killer in those circumstances.
So what you meant to say was Freddy in a wheelchair, right? That's the meme we were going for, boys, right? Yeah.
Oh,
I guess Reggie the Reckless in a wheelchair.
Naughty this.
Damn enchiladas.
Done.
Oh man,
that had to be fun too, because I mean, you're in the Santa suit. Although you did have the forethought to like keep the hair out under it, you know, to keep it looking cute, you know. This had to be fun because you're just running around chopping stuff up. You're chasing after. You've got those great lines. You know what I mean? This looked like a fun day too, or a fun night.
No, you're right. On that particular, getting into that, it was just put, you know, balls to the wall, and the, you know, go in the back room and swing the axe, and I guess I almost sounded like a Benihana chef back there. It almost sounded, it was just funny. I was swinging and just doing all sorts of crazy stuff with my voice, but I was tired. We were all just exhausted, and it's like, fuck this, I'm going for it. And so, yeah, it was It was fun. All this was very fun and crazy. I could see where, and I did it, so I'm very hard on myself, but I could see where people would like this crazy guy. I get it.
Well, I mean, you brought so much energy to it. You know what I mean? You brought so much. I mean, energy. That's the perfect word. I think it's not boring at all, and that's thanks to your performance. I mean, it's just wow.
Did you get to wear squibs there for that final shot?
Yes. Yeah, that was kind of they protect your skin real well. They want you to not get burned. And so there was a protective layer, and then you probably all know, you guys are well into the business of knowing this stuff. So yeah, it was a lot of safety on that too. And before you know it, you're back in the suit with all the stuff on. You're ready to rock. And
Nice.
cool.
Were you ever considered or approached about the third movie? And my apologies if you talked about this before. But...
No, that's quite all right. Because I it's funny. I would audition for that director on several occasions prior to even he getting 3 in his hands. He's got named Monty Hellman, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And there would always be Monty Hellman's big claim to fame was Two-Lane Blacktop. It was with the lead in it was he's like a big music guy, a huge hit. James Taylor. James Taylor was the lead in this movie called Two-Lane Blacktop, and that was like a Monty Hellman big hit. And Monty Hellman got this in his hands, and I can only assume, and I don't know, but I can only assume that he goes, well, I don't want to go with that guy, or maybe my name was never brought up for many reasons, but they went their own way, and Monty was kind of an odd duck, and so he went the way he wanted to go. He wanted to probably more of whatever he did, that's what he wanted. So
got it.
He got his way.
Well, and if you've seen the third Silent Night, Deadly Night movie, it's Ricky goes from, you know what I mean? Silent Night, Deadly Night 3 is Bill Moseley as Ricky with a cereal bowl on his head.
Yes.
And he basically walks like a zombie around the whole movie. Just like, you know what I mean? I don't know how you go from that to, go from this Ricky to cereal bowl on the head, zombie Ricky. You know what I mean? And even like, I think, what's his name? Clint Howard played Ricky in the fourth one, and the fourth one is like the fourth one's a body horror movie. You know what I mean?
Wait, he played. I thought Ricky was dead by the fourth. I thought the fourth one was kind of like a Halloween 3 situation. I didn't think it was related at all.
Is that the witches?
The fourth one is. I'm pretty sure he plays it. His character's name is Ricky. I don't know if it's supposed to be the Ricky, but his character's name is. I'm almost positive. Let me double check to make sure.
All right.
But yeah, and it's like a body horror movie.
The Brian Usna, I believe. Yeah.
The Brian Usna. Yeah.
That explains why it's body horror.
Exactly. Yeah. Let's see. Where's it at? We have Silent Night, Deadly Night. Well, wait a minute. I clicked on the wrong one. You better watch out is part 3.
I like that tagline, by the way.
Yeah, someone was asking if Eric had seen the following sequels in the chat, and I was thinking to myself, like, I've seen them, but I really don't even remember. I get them mixed up. They're not memorable at all.
That's the thing.
They're very forgettable.
They're very, very. Yeah, Clint Howard plays a character named Ricky in the movie. Yeah. I don't know.
It doesn't look like he's the same guy, though, or at least it's unclear. Like he's just called Ricky, but maybe not. Like he's Ricky, but not the Ricky.
It's been a while since I've seen that movie, and I don't remember a thing about it.
Yeah.
You would need a lot of makeup to look like Clint Howard. So.
I never saw him. I never saw anything after 2. Thank God.
You're not missing much.
You've not missed a thing. Trust me.
Yeah, no.
You've not missed a thing. Yeah.
Although Neith Hunter was pretty hot in part 4, but that's a separate thing.
But that was it. And actually, you mentioned the Halloween 5 connection with the doctor. Don Shanks was like the stunt coordinator or whatever in this movie.
Oh, he was. Oh,
Yeah,
that's cool.
yeah.
You know, I have to ask, and this is a not a Silent Night, Deadly Night question, but I was just kind of reviewing your kind of your filmography. You starred on a show that I may be one of the few people who remembers because I just love obscure TV history. The spinoff of Growing Pains, Just the 10 of Us, which also starred Heather Langenkamp. Apparently, you were on an episode of that. Do you remember anything from that? Or is there anything worth mentioning or talking about? I always liked that show. I don't know why.
I did too.
No, thank you. You know, I thought that show was going to go the distance, but I was hired to come on. You know, I would have to say that show with being on that show for this little part, he plays like a bodybuilder. She's one of the main girls was like running the desk at the gym.
Yeah.
And I was a character named Paco, and Paco, Paco comes into a scene and he flexes. He does like a back shot, double bicep shot, and he says something to her like, "Lisa, look at this," and he comes in, and I was real tan, and I was looking pretty sharp at that time, and that's why I got the job. And I did my piece of work, and she goes, "Oh, you're looking good, Paco," and I left, and it was in and out. But I must say that the audience was really kind to me at the end. There's a live audience, but they wanted me to come out at the end, and because they had your regular cast members, but they said, "You got to come out there." And I came out, and the whole place was very, very. They were very kind to me, and at that point I was so not embarrassed and like, oh wow, that's probably the most heady moment, believe it or not. It's for such a small piece of work. They were just very, very pleased and clapping and standing up and screaming. Girls were screaming, and it was wow. I felt like a moment like if you were Brad Pitt on the red carpet or something. At that, I've never experienced that in my life since, but that was a moment of all the little things I did of it being something. And but it was because my piece of work, they liked it. So
That's awesome. I'm glad I asked. That's really cool.
Yeah. Well, guys, we've just completed somebody's fantasy football just got notified. We just completed the Silent Night Deadly Night 2 commentary with Eric Freeman. If you guys have any questions for Eric, we'll do a little Q&A session here at the end. Go ahead and leave those questions in the comments section there in the chat. One thing I wanted to ask Eric before we dive into the Q&A is, what's your thoughts on the whole phenomenon now? The garbage day meme, the fact that the movie's finding an audience now. Or I shouldn't say it's finding an audience. It's become a cult movie now. And on top of that, you've got the whole Finding Freeman movement, which, I mean, we could do an entire show talking about the Finding Freeman movement. I mean, what's your thoughts on all that now? I mean, it's got to be a surreal kind of experience, considering, this was a movie you worked on for 5 days, you walked away from it, and you'd never thought anything more of it, really. I mean, what's that like?
Yeah, no, thank you. Look, when you consider that I saw it in an urban theater, and I knew it was just going to die and disappear, and I had nothing to say I did this movie. And so when I left that theater that day in '87, I ripped the poster off the wall and rolled it up, and some kid saw me as I did it, and he goes, "Hey, you're," and I said, yeah. And he goes, "Well, why are you here?" And I said, "Well, it's the only place I could see it." But going forward, what I think of it now, I thought this thing was gone, dead, buried. Thank God. I said, well, it wasn't my best piece of work, and it wasn't received well back in the day because it was a rip off of the original or whatever. I don't know, 1,000 reasons why. But to answer that, I'm floored. I keep thinking, like, when's the floor going to drop out on this thing? In the sense that it seems to, I don't know if it's growing or not growing, but it seems that it's not going away. And I'm thoroughly flattered by it, really, guys. I mean, I'm on with talking to you and everyone here. I respect all you guys and what you review. You really review movies and stuff, and you're kind to me. And I kind of thought this was going to be a roast in a way, and I deserve it. but no, I'm when I see people in the conventions and stuff and all this, Justin, the only thing I can say to the question is I'm floored. I don't believe it. Robert Brian Wilson doesn't even believe it either. We look at each other and like, can you believe this is happening? And I watch people. He's signing all these dolls, Robert, at a convention, and they just love his movie. And he's really more busy than I when we go to these things. But it is fascinating that it's people love it, and it's almost a timeless piece. And I'm fucking blown, man. I'm blown because I shouldn't be selling garbage cans to this movie 30 years later. Anyhow, thanks.
But that's awesome. That's awesome. And I mean, the whole Finding Freeman thing was something that I can remember when you were quote unquote found, like when you did that Q&A at the Saturday Night Deadly Night screening years ago with Lee Harry. People were just like, oh my God. You know what I mean? It was such he's found. Oh my God. Like, what do we do now? Kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, it's something, man. It's a phenomenon now. It's a phenomenon. It's a meme. If you I said this in my review of the Blu-ray. If you walked up to 10 random 20-something people on the street and you went garbage day, 8 of them would probably go, oh yeah, oh, that's funny. I've seen that a million times. But if you said, okay, well, what movie is that from? 1, 2 of them, maybe like, oh, it's like a Christmas killer movie, Evil Santa or something. I don't know.
Oh my God. I don't even think that many. I'm not sure.
Probably. Yeah. I mean, honestly, my girlfriend's son, you know what I mean? He knows of Garbage Day. No idea what movie. Well, he does now. But
Yeah.
He knew of Garbage Day.
Do your job, Piz. Come on.
Well, I mean, he's known for a while now, because I was like, that Garbage Day meme on the internet, and he's like, yeah. I was like, that guy's my friend. He was like,
that's awesome.
Yeah. So
it's your duty to educate the youth of America.
And I got him a garbage can signed by Eric. So he's got it in his room. He's got it in his room. But yeah.
Yeah, I remember like 10 years ago, there was a podcast I think some of you guys are probably familiar with called Dead Pit. And they were both big fans of this film. And, at that point, it was kind of like, where is he now? Everyone was kind of, looking for you and trying to figure out what was going on with this guy. So, yeah, we've been wondering for quite a while what you've been up to, man. So it's really an honor to do this with you.
Oh, you're very, very kind. Thank you. I was vacillating because I said, well, you always, I don't come into it with any ego. I was literally for a long time like, oh, they don't really want to see me, because that I'm kind of rambling, but that role was out there, and I see the attraction of it. But since I did it, I'm always going to be going, wow, sorry, and but how cool that it's got legs. It is nice, and I appreciate that there's interest in you guys asking these questions. I can probably answer anything on it, and probably have in the past, but the overall is it's overwhelming in every season comes around, but there's people getting a hold of me all the time about this movie all year round, but I'm very pleased that it's kind of made a career for me that I didn't get a chance to get. Things ended very quickly for me, but it's nice that it's around. So,
Mr. Freeman, I have one question I need to ask you.
Okay.
All right.
Making him nervous.
What
Or-
is your favorite flavor of M&M, sir? What is your favorite flavor of M&M?
I don't. Are there different flavors of M&Ms? I didn't know. They all taste the same,
Yeah,
man.
you got peanut butter, crispy,
Oh, I'm telling you,
You know?
look, I'm all wrong. You know what it
Yeah.
is? I'm an old. I don't know of M&M's past what I grew up with. I don't know that there's like a jalapeno and whatever, and old pussy flavor. I don't know.
I'll try that one. I may try it.
Sorry, but yeah.
You mentioned earlier doing some extra work on moonlighting, and I guess
Eric, you somehow got muted. Your audio fell out.
Yeah, it did, and I don't know why.
While you're working on that, Eric. I'm talking to the other Eric.
Oh, mine going out too. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. To the Jornado. Eric does not have a Facebook. He does have an official website. THEE. EricFreeman.com, theericfreeman.com, where you can go and pick up. There's 3 of these bad boys left. Only 3. Galvanized, about a 10-inch garbage can. Get them signed by Eric. The THEE, Eric Freeman.
nice. Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you now. Yeah.
Oh, there we go. I'm sorry. I wanted to ask a moonlighting question because you'd mentioned you were an extra on or you did some extra type work on moonlighting, and I wondered if there were any other experiences you remembered from that show, because there's all kinds of stories about that show and infamous things about it, the production of it being just very hectic, like scripts coming in last minute, that kind of stuff. I don't know if you had any exposure to that, or if there's just anything that stood out to you.
Yeah. No, I have a few things. You are right. They would constantly be rewriting the scripts and refreshing them, and what they call pink pages and blue pages. And these are last minute pages. They change the colors on them and put them out. I noticed that a lot. I did notice that Bruce Willis was, we go back a way. We don't know Bruce Willis. He's kind of lightened up his acting in the last few years, but he was really a clown back then. He was really kind of almost a comedian.
Yeah.
And he was the light side of that show. He's kind of joking and wisecracking, and that was his character. But Sybil Shepherd could not stand him. Could not.
Right.
And because he was came from a different world. She was very mannered and professional. And I'm telling you guys, I used to watch her, and she would they wrap for they'd about to wrap for lunch, and she would be like at standing up like near the desk or something where the secretary was, and she would have a pencil in her hand, and she'd be having some dialogue or something. I remember that she all wrapped for lunch, and she knew they came back for lunch, she knew exactly where she should be, where the pencil was in her hand. I mean, she knew to the letter exactly where she stopped to pick up again. And
Right.
he was organic, and but he was clowning around a lot, and she was good at what she did. It was her show because she was a star, and he was an up and coming star, and I just got to say it was 2 different styles. Not that she was method or anything. She was an old school professional and I respected that a lot. And watching her, I learned a lot from her. I did. I thank you for asking, because she some of the best ways you can learn is observing, and I just watched it. She was a freaking pro all the way, and he was a clown, and but I knew he was going places because he was funny, he was good, he was entertaining, and he was very organic, and of course Die Hard. I mean, that's it.
Mm-hmm. Not a Christmas movie though. Mike or Jay, do you have any?
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. That's awesome. Thanks for sharing that.
Mike or Jay, do you guys have any questions for Eric?
I think everything's been covered.
Yeah, I think I've wasted enough of his time tonight.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I'll bet your asses are all hurting you. So, and especially orcs.
Oh, Jesus. Let's see what's going on out in the chat. We've gotten some questions from the chat. Neilbog87 wants to know, does the trash can come with M&Ms? Sure. Buy one. Eric will throw a few M&Ms in there, or you can use the trash can as your own personal M&M receptacle. You know what I mean? It's big. It'll probably hold like, this thing will probably hold like at least 2 of like the big family bags.
God, that'd be funny. Guy opens it up and he says, God, where are the old pussy M&Ms?
Oh gosh.
Oh,
Let's
God.
see.
Sorry, guys.
That's
Mr. Freeman, it's been an honor. I just want to say,
hold
with
on.
all the Top Gun references, I think we outclassed that whole movie and this one show that we did right now. But yeah, I mean, I'm hoping for Die Hard 6 with you and Willis. Just Uzis ablazing everywhere. Maybe throw a little Sam Jackson in there too. We could probably get that. We got to just tweet at the guy who something. I don't know, just the guy who owns the company. But yeah.
We do have some questions from viewers tonight. Stephen McFerrin asks, he says, I'm not sure if I'll be there live, but can you ask Mr. Freeman who his favorite actor is, as well as his favorite movie?
God, what a question. A good question. What was it? My favorite movie for years was this is a tough. It's like on a later. If I gave it some thought, I could come up with both that favorite actor. Wow. I probably picked someone so obscure you guys would go, oh, man, that is really hard to say. I kind of gravitate towards the ones that are long dead actors. But if I had to get contemporary, where everyone knows an actor from today, there's a lot of good. This is tough. People pop into my head that it shouldn't, but I've always liked Clive Owen's work, and I know that people probably wouldn't say who or whatever, but there's actors out there I could think of that you guys would all agree with. But I mean, Michael Caine is one that I would think that his career, the fucker's just a good actor, and Ralph Richardson, a bunch of guys like Claude Rains. He was the guy in Casablanca. But there are some guys that played heavies and always second bananas and stuff that were just fantastic actors and knew what they were doing. And but hard for me to say. I kind of gravitate towards the Kirk Douglas and Lancaster guys and bigger than life characters, but I don't want to be long-winded.
Okay.
I don't know any contemporary. I don't know. The field is so large. I don't know what to think. And I know you guys do a lot of horror and stuff, and I don't know what to say to it.
Do you have any another question from a viewer? What's the Lausberg? What about your favorite horror movie?
It's an area I don't know well, guys. You know that you probably have figured it out. I'm going to pass. I'm going to pass only because I can only come up with a handful in my head that I've seen that I like. But I am sorely uneducated on it to come up with a cogent thought on that.
Okay. I know you mentioned The Shining earlier. You a fan of The Shining?
Yeah, I liked it, but it's for the most part that movie is very slow, and Jack Nicholson comes alive in it, but I saw it because I saw it, but it doesn't stick out in my head as anything special in the realm.
Okay. I just saw that Justin Beam is in the chat, and he says that shirt looks sharp, Eric.
Oh, thank you, sir. Justin. Yeah, we had a nice time last night, and the Scott Perlman and Beam had their. I was odd man out because they were like you. The filmography and the knowledge of it was extraordinary. So I sat on the side and ate my burger. It was nice, guys. You know when you go out and you eat and such, and you're talking so much you don't have time to eat. These guys were talking so much I just fucking ate my burger. You know, it's like, hey.
There you go. Man, I gotta know what kind of burger did you get? How was it cooked? What toppings?
It was a Kobe beef cheeseburger.
Damn.
It was a bit. It was something. It was something. Yeah. And,
You're the man. That's
I went for it, guys. You would have liked it. French fries, a whole bit. And they left me alone. they left me alone.
Rocky Voorhees wants to know if you still have the blue sweater from the movie, Eric.
No. I would have liked it. I had the black shoes up until a few years ago. I looked at them one day and just like, fuck, those things are hideous. And I threw them out. And then I found out that there was a following for the movie. But well, who knew, you know?
Joe Bob Tarhill wants to know what movies influenced you back in the day. When you decided that you wanted to give acting a go, were there any movies or performances that inspired you to want to get into the business?
That's a good question. My answer will not be entertaining. It might be entertaining, but it's certainly not sexy or fun. But I just wanted to be anybody but who I was. I wanted to. I got into it to escape my freaking life, and it sounds horrible, but there was a lot of. We probably have some people here in the panel that experienced, terrible parents and stuff. But that's where it came from. Fuck. Can I escape into some other place? And so that's where that really was, not necessarily following my favorite, swashbuckler or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I watched a lot of television too. I probably grew up on it, Gilligan's Island and whatever. I had met people along the way. I met Elizabeth Montgomery one day, and in an Angora sweater. She was Bewitched. You guys probably remember this show, but when I met her, she was as hot as ever, and boy, and her tits were sticking out of that sweater. And I always remember that because I was going to the same dentist she was going to, and but she was a beautiful woman. And you meet people like that. I met a lot of people in town here, and I've never was starstruck because they're just normal folks. They're just normal. But cool.
William Lowry wants to know, he says, if knowledge serves me right, Eric Freeman appears as an extra in the 1986 film Back to School. Were you an extra in Back to School?
Yes, wow. Quite a bit. That movie I worked on for like 2 weeks. And we did a ton of it was Rodney Dangerfield was the lead, but also it was his production company. I think it was called Paperclip Production Company. Rodney Dangerfield was stoned every day. He was wildly stoned. His eyes were beet red, and he reeked of pot. And he was always complaining about the cost of it because there were these large scenes outdoors around a pool. A lot of extras. There was a lot of money being wasted there. They were taking forever to get all these shots. We shouldn't have been on there for 2 weeks. It was like a featured extra thing. And yes, I was on that. I did get a T-shirt out of it and a few other things, and they disappeared. But thanks for asking. Yeah, that was some good money. We went way the hell out to a city of industry, just real far every day to get out there. But it had an Olympic-sized pool and stands for the fans, and William Zabka and the actor, I forgot him, from Christine. he was a good actor. He had a couple really good scenes. Even I mentioned it to him on the side. I said, "Fuck, that was great what you did." And he was so happy. And Terry Farrell, I must say, Terry Farrell, the young Terry Farrell, and she was absolutely beautiful. And I remember her skin was so lusciously red, and she was just beautiful. And I remember I said, this is trivia, but I called her Peaches and Cream. And it got throughout she was Peaches and Cream about 2 days later for the 2 weeks as her nickname, because she was luscious. She was beautiful. And I saw her later on Ted Danson had a TV show called
It was Becker.
Becker. Thank you, Big Mike. And she was beautiful there too. I hope she's had a good life, because she was a freaking gorgeous woman and smart. And I did talk to her a couple times on that set, and I like smart women. They're God, the best. So that's my little behind the story, the extra work on that show. But Rodney Dangerfield was cool, and they all were cool, and I wanted more out of it. I was always trying to get more in there. I want them to have to ask me to say some dialogue. I kind of always was insinuating myself into those scenes the best I could, but at some point they just parked my ass on the side, like, we've seen too much of you, boy. And, but I tried.
And this person's name got cut off. I apologize. It's the last part of his name is Gumi. He wants to know about your workout routine. Are you lifting with free weights still, or are you using machines?
Both. Both. I've learned throughout the years, I don't go heavy with weight. I look, when it comes to legs, I like using a machine called a Smith machine. It's like a squat bar built into poles. It's kind of a safety. It's kind of a safety thing. It's called a Smith machine, but it's basically a bar that's put. It runs linearly, vertically on stainless steel poles that you can rack it anywhere you want. So I can do a lot of exercise on that. I have a Smith machine in my garage. I don't go to the gym, although I'd like to, because the machinery is fantastic these days. I mean, biomechanically correct and all that, just beautiful machinery at the gym. But I'm still kind of a cannibal at that. I just got back into it. I took I dare say I took 20 some odd years off from lifting, but the diet was always very clean. But I came back on it, and I do have a whole big long rack of dumbbells. I've got a Smith machine. I've got a cable crossover, and I've got a couple of machines. I've got a leg extension and leg curl machines, and all of this stuff called Flex from a number of years ago. But they fit me perfectly, and but I engage in it every day, and I test myself. But I do like using lighter weight with higher reps, because I've always liked that, because you get into this pain zone that is excruciating, yet it pays off massively. Definition and size. And they've really found out the science is that you don't have to lift heavy anymore. You can lightweight and get into you just get into that zone where you're working the muscle. Bodybuilding is different. If I could say anything on bodybuilding, it is not weightlifting. It is not powerlifting. It's not about how much weight you push around. It's how you lift the weights. And so I would encourage anyone to do resistance exercise, because the active muscle burns calories 24 hours a day. And where aerobic type of activity or that anything else, treadmill or running, jogging, whatever, that's going to have a limited effect it's good for your heart, but active muscle resistance training is the best, in my opinion. Old school is still the best. I know these days people jump around, jump on balls and jump off balls and run around with balls. And I it's not fucking working out, and it's a pussy shit, and work out, and so I'm into high reps, and today I did some heavy ass weight on squats, just because I was testing myself. But I don't like heavy. I like the weight in half today on my squats, and I did 25 rep set that would probably have killed somebody because I got 2 parts out of it. It was very highly cardiovascular. I was literally winded like I just ran 3 miles, and my legs were more pumped than ever. I swear my legs look better than they did when I was 20, and it's because I connect my brain to my muscles while I'm doing it, and I just grind it out. And I know I just got long-winded on you, but that's what I do when I'm working out. Is I put it in. You connect to the muscle. You don't have to do heavy weight. Sorry.
Shit, man, it's nice talking to you. I just want to go pump some iron right now. Let's go. So how many sets and reps would you say? Because I know you like the 25 reps. But what are we doing here for sets?
Anything over 12, really 12 and above. But I understand the benefit of heavy weight in 3 to 5 or 2 to 3 or even 1. I get that. I understand. Also, I'm talking for me, but some people respond really well and they're really strong and they can push weight around like nobody's business, and it's ego for them. They bench to push weight around, and I get it. So I was always a tall, skinny ectomorph. I weighed 98 pounds when I was 14. I used to get my ass kicked on a daily basis. So my foray into bodybuilding was, I'll show you, you fucking assholes, and you're not kicking my ass again. But that in short order left, and I just enjoyed the sport for the sport, and I wasn't mad anymore. And that's how I got into it. So it's to each his own. What works for you? Find out what works for you. And
I know what works for me. Half the shit you're saying on this show is quotable as fuck. You need to make a T-shirt line and just I love it. Balls are pussy shit. Fucking all this other stuff.
Sorry, I'm sorry, guys. I gotta follow mouth. I always did, but
you're right at home here.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. No, I'm not trashing you. It's fucking great. I love it that you're so genuine. It's fucking awesome. I love it.
I was afraid for you, Orc, because he said balls 3 times in a row, and I thought your head was going to explode.
No, I got the shirt that says "I like smart women." That's fucking badass. Like, get that on Teespring. Let's go, baby.
Yeah.
Nilbog 1987 says, "I don't have a question, but I just wanted to say thank you for your performance in SNDN 2."
That's cool. Very cool. I know I'm a talker. I apologize, guys, because I'd rather have listened to you guys all night than me. But it's the way it went.
No, it's been fantastic. It's been fantastic. Some little fanboy, probably dweeb, named Orc wants to know what your favorite pizza toppings are. And this same little fanboy dweeb would probably be very jealous because I have actually had pizza with Eric Freeman. So.
Yeah, you have. Yes. Hey, man, this is going to, some of you are going to say yes, and some are going to say no to this, but freaking pineapple on a pizza is orgasmic. I'm sorry. It's fucking great. It's fucking great. Oh, jeez, it's just great. I don't know why, but it is. And pizza. Someone say I could understand both ends of the pizza too, the deep dish or the thin crust, and but I like a thin crust pizza, and I like the toppings. I just like minimal. I don't like going crazy. I like olives. I like it's like the good. I like the good tomato sauce. I like the good cheese and a couple.
Mr. Freeman, you're shooting a new movie. You're in just the middle of nowhere. You got 3 pizza options. You don't have your Tombstone, your Lifeline. All right, we're working with this. You got Pizza Hut, Domino's, Papa John's. What do you go with?
Domino's.
No bullshit.
Domino's.
All right. They don't do 30 minutes or less. Why? Because they're afraid that when they show up to the door, you're going to kick the fucking ass. That's why. That's right. Woo! Let's go.
Oh goodness. Well, I think that pretty much gets there's a couple other questions, but I think we've already answered those during the course of the night. Alexander Barnes would like to know when did you find out about your fame? I'm guessing the Finding Freeman movement and whatnot. And he also says, what do you think about the Conan O'Brien clips? I'm not aware. Did Conan O'Brien used to play clips from the movie on his show? I'm not aware of that.
Very curious. I don't know.
Yeah.
When I found out, many of you know this, and I won't be. God, I got to stop doing this. I found out when a buddy. I was picking up a car back east to drive it back here. My brother was storing it, and then he died. So I had to get my car, and I pulled my car over to a buddy's house that I grew up with, and was doing the brakes, and he kept saying, "You gotta look at this Finding Freeman. I told you 6 months ago. Look at this. Come on, Eric. It's something." And so I went into his basement, looked at his computer, and woo, a world that I didn't know I became aware of at that point. And I don't know why I gravitated, or maybe I just all of a sudden I got into a lot of negative, like the haters, and but I was driving home in that car, no radio, the stereo was long gone, and thinking about how I could show the world. So I wrote Unhinged in my head, driving home, because you got nothing but time. So so again, it was another time of like, oh, okay, I get it, I'll show you, and and here we are. But that's when I knew, and I 5 years ago, 4 years ago.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome, and we'll go ahead and wrap it up there. I just want to again thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight, Eric. Watching the movie, talking about the movie, doing the Q&A. It's been an absolute blast. So thank you so much, man.
Thanks, guys. I know that most of you need to eat and get to your families and all that. So I'm sorry if I kept you, but there we go. It's a one-time shot. Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, it's been an absolute freaking blast, an absolute blast. Again, thanks to everybody on the panel who joined me tonight as well. Thank you guys at home for watching, for the great questions. The chat was very, very lively tonight. Hope you guys enjoyed this show. This was a great Christmas gift that will keep on giving, I'm sure. But yeah,
definitely, man.
This is definitely one of the. I'm just going to say, I think this is the best live commentary we've done. Definitely the most entertaining. So, and we've done some damn good ones. So
this is one of the best though.
Yeah.
Definitely going to be.
Absolutely.
We'll be talking about this one for years to come.
Yeah. But yeah, everybody out there, have a great, safe, healthy, and happy holiday, whatever holiday you celebrate this time of year. All the best from us to you. In the new year as well, but yeah, we will see you again in the year 2019. So,
Merry Christmas to Eric and to all who watch the show, and to you guys too.
Absolutely. You guys have a great one. We'll see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.